still takes both. Actually, fucking, it doesn't take us both anymore. God damn it. Okay. Okay. Just transferring one to the other. Oh, wait. Yeah, just checking. Yep. 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 Yep.
Do you have a phone?
A phone? Yeah.
Phone number?
Yeah.
Same number?
Yeah.
Okay.
415448792.
Okay.
No problems. Pink. Just checking. Transgender arrow. Transgender. Cool. Just chatting to. I'm gonna go live. Cool. What's up? Alright, hello. Gosh, it's been forever. Alright, cool. Let's hope my PC doesn't fucking crash. I mean, my PC, my laptop, because it's just a fucking laptop we're using right now, but we're doing it. Alright, now let's see. Dupe, first tweet. Ha, I go live before I tweet. Because I'm prepared a little bit this time. Not many times am I. And this time I'm using fucking hype. And this time I have a double. Okay, now let's get that Discord link. Invite people. What? Hidden. Okay, I'll just use the copy button then. Cool. Bing. And now we have to favorite a different video, which we're going to have to retweet this one, and the other two are there. I did the Xenogender one, the other one, but it's fine, it's fine. This works for me. Cool. Yeah, pretty much. It takes two. Broadcaster is what? It's for mature audiences and making sure I'm mature. Yep, I'm there. Cool. We're live on Twitch. Let's do it.
Do you guys want to do
Pink? Oh god, it's 2 hours long. We're gonna skim through this shit. I swear to God, I didn't know it was gonna be that long. But, oh shit. But yeah. All right, let's get on discussing this stuff. Okay, let me tell everyone. Add everyone. We are live on Twitch. Now let's get that Twitch link. Okay, I'm not as prepared as I thought, but I'm getting there. Pink. Yep. Cool. Pink. Cool. Send now. Oh, go fuck. Pink. Now we're all watching me live. Not really, but you know, some people are. Oh wait, and I should link my Discord in the chat so that y'all can hear my ugly voice in a different way, or be my friend. Cause I don't know if anyone wants to be friends with someone that looks like me, but you know, it's all about what's inside. Now, one viewers. Why is it just me? Oh well, it's been a while. It's been a while. That's the answer. All right, let's change the to YouTube. Cool. Cool. I've never heard of Chariot, but we obviously all have heard of Bosch. This is apparently about xenogenders. They call themselves a dick girl on Twitch or Twitter, so I imagine that they're trans. They have to kind of be trans. And I don't know how much you've heard of me talking, but now you can hear me. Either way, it doesn't matter. Um, this is Chariot's video on Vosh about xenogenders, which I'm a little bit familiar with. Only recently, YouTube has even introduced me to xenogenders even being a thing. I just thought in general that gender was like formless, shapeless, countless in the first place because I already heard about xenogenders. I haven't heard about people calling themselves its until I heard of, I think her name is Doe, or its name is Doe. Um, Made a video discussing that with RGR, Riley Gates Roshong. And I want to talk about Riley Gates Roshong and Demonmama, but before we do that, we first have to see what's going on here with Chariot. But it's 2 hours, so expect a lot of skimming until we see that particular video about Vosh, or when she actually digs into it, or if she actually has anything negative to say. I don't know if she's in support or not in support, but it doesn't really matter. I'm waving my arms because I think I'm a bird and I'm gonna fly, but it doesn't matter because we're gonna watch this video. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go.
This segment we've all been waiting for.
Seems like I gotta turn it
on. Finally. We really want to get into it.
Okay.
Do you guys want to do the segment we've all been waiting for? The one. Finally.
The one.
We really want to get into it.
Yeah, we want to get into it. Go, 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 go.
And I had an exchange on Twitter about xenogenders.
Do you agree that non-binary
the other night?
Yeah,
and I thought this was really good. I was proud of myself for how I handled this. So we just kind of had a little bit of a back and forth here, and I decided, okay, good faith, let's go. Believe in xenogender. And I said, right on. So let's say first, right? And Claudia said yes. And I said, right on. So let's say, for example, that I'm non-binary and I want to express my gender. But I can't go off of these fuzzy social concepts of man or woman. I have to do my own thing. So you'd agree that it's okay for me to come up with my own aesthetic and name for my gender. And Claudia's like, of course, yeah. Because Claudia's a reasonable human being.
So this is
also supportive of trans people generally. And I said, all right, cool. So I can have my non-binary gender. If you like your non-binary gender, you can keep it. And I can call it what I want.
Yep.
And I can have it be associated with whatever aesthetics that I want. So what's the argument against dear gender? Now, of course, I'd like to point out that Doe is kind of the subtext of a lot of these arguments.
Of course, Doe is.
DGGers made that up. His community just completely made that up. It's a load of bullshit.
What is?
Destiny's community, that's not a thing. Doe is not dear gender.
Yep.
That's not a thing.
Okay.
DGGers made that up. Like, Destiny's community just completely made that up.
And see, that was vital information. Good thing we watched the stream itself in this long, it was fucking long, but, yeah, so apparently Doe themselves isn't actually dear gender, it's just a lie, but dear gender is still a thing, and Doe is still a thing, so. By the way, Doe's a very nice person.
It's a load of bullshit. It's just a bad faith interpretation of Doe's expression of Doe's gender. It to my knowledge, it is just some other like discrete non-binary gender, not a xenogender. However,
yep.
This is going to lead back to its pronouns again, isn't it? Well, I think that the its pronouns issue is kind of funny to me because misgendering is inherently like dehumanizing.
Yep.
Especially if it's paternalistic. It's like saying, I know what's best for you.
Yep.
And in this case, what's best for you is not to respect your decisions.
Pretty much.
And not to respect your identity.
Yep, that's just for you.
Because I would be using a word that I would typically use of an object, and that seems kind of objectifying. So therefore, I'm doing a bad thing by respecting you and gendering you correctly,
rude, but if
which is a load of nonsense
it,
because that's I don't think that
be nice to them and comply.
You can transpose the logic of the use of one word into all uses of that word, right? Like, we do this a lot with words. There are words that have different meanings for different situations. And we can very easily just say, okay, well, what about using a different definition for idiots, you know? what if we consider the pronouns just a different usage of the word, as far as pronouns for human beings, right? That is, to me, like the subtext of that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody refuses to gender you correctly on the basis of like the effects of their language, what they're really saying is, I know better than you what's good for you.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, is paternalistic.
Yeah, I don't know what paternalistic means, but it's fucked
Mm.
up. It's definitely fucked up. Alright, go. Go.
People fuzzing about idiots aren't really original. Yeah, well, that's the funny thing.
Yeah, they aren't original.
Is people make the argument it doesn't. And I'd like to see the source on that, because of them being used for people, if you really wanted to. Just really tickles me.
Come on.
Individual
We're not even at the Vosh video.
was not
okay,
the norm.
Look, this is a good video. Please watch it. It's called The Great Xenogender War, responding to Vosh. They're making really good points. Pretty sure she, her. Dick girl. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. She, her. Anyways, they're talking about a Twitter thread, which is like all well and good that they're defending dear gender and that they're defending xenogender, but we don't have time for that right now. Like, I'd love to. We do have time, technically, but there's a lot of things I want to get to. So we're going to stroll right away to Vosh. So let's see where Vosh pops up here, because this is something that I know.
We were going... Bornstein's definition of gender relativity. It's whatever conception of gender that alleviates the most internal suffering. Yeah, well, I mean, you'd think that would be important, wouldn't you? Alleviating internal suffering. A little video.
Yep.
And I don't know if you guys have heard of this guy.
No, I never heard of
him. He
go.
is on... So
why are you fucking
Yeah, that
around?
could be... Okay, I am curious.
We've all seen that 1,000 times. We all know.
All right, so I'm only really talking about this right now in the way that I am, because I don't know if there's been like a cohesive video that I've made on it, even though I've released my opinions kind of piecemeal without some huge video to coalesce them around. And I know that there are plenty of people in my community who have... I've seen a ton of discourse in my community. You know, after the recent drama, I've seen people arguing about neo-pronouns, dear gender, it's xenogenders, this, that, or the other. And there's a lot of really fierce disagreement, which I think I can attribute to two competing facts. On one hand, my community is left-leaning, obviously.
Of course.
On the other hand, I'm known for being a relatively uncucked lefty. Like,
yeah,
I'm not one of the people who will sit here and like make big, you know, teary eyes at you and go like, if it's valid, it's valid. You know, like I'm not, you know what I mean? And I'm proud of that, because I don't want to. I do try to justify the things I believe in. I like, you know, the pragmatism.
Hurry up.
And I'm not an especially sensitive person, I think, by default. So I usually need a little bit more of a grounding, or like a, you know, a push to believe in some things that don't make sense intuitively to me. And I want to make you all understand, okay? Intuitively, none of this makes sense to me. I just want to be clear, okay? I'm cis. I've never really thought that much about my gender, seriously.
Intuitively.
It's a remarkable luxury to just sort of passively, by default, be happy with how you're doing in general. I think a lot of people are like that, but increasingly few people are, or I guess fewer people with time, because I think more and more people are getting red-pilled on how limiting gender expectations can be. So I think with time, it's not that more people are going to be like, you know, transitioning or whatever. More like there's going to be a sort of a broad rejection of hegemonic gender roles, which we've already seen happen for a while, you know.
I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and interject here and say that I think that's all right.
Cool.
Hopefully this will go a little faster.
Hair or piercings, but 60 or 70 years ago, that would have been like very not acceptable socially, you know? Likewise with the way we dress, there are just huge changes, which I think is really nice. Obviously, the more freedom we have, as long as we're not hurting people, that's better. But we're not really talking about behavior here. We're talking about ideology. Of course, the two inform each other, but yeah, all right, let's not beat around the bush. Neopronouns, xenogenders, okay. So I've talked about this a bit before, And there's something I want to point out before we jump into it, and it's that I think it's important to understand these issues with a proportional sense of how relevant they are and how meaningful they are in the context of modern discourse. Okay, so I've said before that I don't like it when people who have xenogenders, let's say dream gender, let's just go with that. Okay, whatever that means to you, whatever.
Sounds cool.
I have gotten frustrated when people will equivocate not believing in xenogenders to transphobia.
Boom!
That there's like an equivalence between not.
I'm a magician. I'm just
saying, oh, you're a dream gender, so on. And that's like ideologically the same as saying that a trans woman is a man. You know?
The reason it's different, although he's gonna probably discuss it, and he's probably gonna say it, I have to say it first because this is my show. Is because these concepts are not neo. Trans people have been around for fucking ever. Not only that, there have been trans women, trans men, trans non-binary people across the globe, from fucking places in Mexico, which I learned about, from places in Africa to places in fucking Eastern Asia, Asia itself. Trans people are fucking everywhere and have been everywhere for years, and it's very obvious what a trans person identifies as. You don't really have to learn a lot, because the thing is, you see female and you see male, and if somebody is very clearly female presenting like me, even if I'm ragged and ugly and have no makeup on, it's very clear that I'm a female, that I'm identifying as a female and projecting to you, I am a female. I have long hair. I have a high-pitched voice, sort of softer and not bassy voice. I'm attracted to men. That's not really necessarily, plenty of women are lesbians. But the whole point is, I follow a lot of the norms a normal cis straight girl would. The only difference is my body. Otherwise, I make the same and similar decisions another nerdy cis white girl would, just that I'm trans. So it's not difficult to understand my gender. It's male and female, something you really know. That's the reason it's not the same. It's not transphobia, because transphobia is basically being ignorant to the point of self-detriment. Like, people will call me a man constantly, and regardless of what I'm wearing, of what I'm doing, of how I've lived my life, of my boobs, of the fact that I'm getting surgeries, of any of these things, which all feminize my body even more than it already was feminine from the beginning. And they will turn their norms, see a feminine-looking person, and say, nope, just because I know that they're transgender, as feminine as they might be, I'm going to reject their gender. That's transphobia. It's basically purposeful ignorance. It can be ignorance without knowledge, but more or less, it's often known what the gender, what the pronouns of the person you're talking to are. Because if I walk outside and I have my long hair and I'm wearing this half dress, half pant thing, how many people do you think it's going to be like, oh man, he's so masculine? Nobody. Most people will say, oh man, she's feminine, or oh man, that's like a normal woman, like let her be. But there's no point at which the person who's transphobic gives a fuck about that. Like, that's the purposeful transphobia. And then to call someone transphobic for not understanding xenogender is like calling someone like anti-math for not understanding complex equations. Like, it's not your fault for not knowing, but it also is your fault for refusing to know. So I can agree that it would be transphobic to be anti-xenogender if you've met somebody who told you their pronouns, who expressed their gender, and who asked you politely to respect that. And if after that you want to be rude and you want to be evil, call it transphobic all you want, because that is purposeful ignorance. That is self-detrimental ignorance, to the point to where someone's serving you somehow, some way in society, and because you know that they're trans, you go, sir, and then they say, step out, leave, just leave, because you're being fucking rude and you're not participating like a normal human being in this service that I'm giving you. Because what happens when your boss is fucking trans? What the fuck do you do? I'll tell you what the fuck you do. You respect them because you have to. All right? So in society, we're supposed to respect each other. And when we know the boundaries of respect, And the thin line of disrespect, we don't just constantly overstep that over and over again and expect ourselves to be seen in society as a positive or uplifting or important person. We're seen as annoying, unimportant, and fucking ignorant as shit, because there's no reason to be around somebody who's going to say, well, even though it's very clear that you're female, I'm going to call you male because I'm obstinate. I don't want to accept the facts. I don't want to accept the facts. And that goes down all the way down to the fucking biological thing with biological sex and gender, like as if chromosomes, my own chromosomes, can decide my gender for me or my femininity or any of that, because it can't. Because I could have been born with the same exact chromosomes, ended up non-binary, same exact chromosomes, ended up deer gender, same exact chromosomes, ended up a fucking really masculine person. It could be anything. I could have been anything, and there's no deciding. That's why we say assigned gender at Earth, because it's done without consent. If it was done with consent, then us as children wouldn't know what the fuck we were, because we wouldn't know what the fuck the world was. We have to learn what the world is before we discover ourselves, before we discover the world around us, before we the people around us, before we discover the structure of society itself around us, which suggests that it would be more efficient to choose a gender, to describe yourself more thoroughly so that you can have details about how you want to be treated and how you treat others open. So and yourself and all that kind of stuff. But either way, I went on a fucking tirade. That was fucking good content. When we post this to YouTube, people are gonna fucking watch it, because I'm gonna cry if they don't.
You know, I disagree with that.
Now, I'm gonna interject here because
this woman is a man, you know, so on. And that's like ideologically the same as saying that a trans woman is a man, you know. I disagree with that.
Obviously, we all disagree with that. You know what? This video is nice, and I like Chariot, and Chariot's about to interject and stuff. It is a long video. I want to watch the Riley Case Roshong and Demonmama clip, but let's check for how long we've been streaming real quick. It's been about 20 minutes. We'll give it about 20 more minutes on this video in particular, then we're going to switch.
Now, I'm going to interject here because I have sort of a different perspective. The rejection of xenogenders, I think,
yeah,
you could very easily imagine somebody, couldn't you, who is just not familiar with this concept.
Of course, you can imagine someone who's not familiar with the concept and just can't understand it, or won't understand it, or is completely confused, or thinks they're being made a fool of, like it's a joke on them or whatever. Like it's the whole thing about, like, somebody says, what's 99 times 2 plus something to the power of whatever, and then they say the answer, and you're supposed to be like, okay, I accept that. What if they're just fucking with you? Like that whole concept of, if I don't know this information, and this is new information being given to me, and there is no history of this information in my entire life, how can I be sure that this is like accurate information? That's just rational. But if you are talking to the individual whom is explaining this to you, there's no reason to backhand them with not respecting their pronouns, because that is, I mean, you're dealing with the person face to face. You can then look it up later, or then ask people later, and the problem is, it's so new in society that if you ask most people what xenogender, if I went into fucking New York or LA or wherever with a crowded mass of people, I was like, what is xenogender? No one would know what the fuck I said or what I'm asking. So it's very fresh, and in certain places of the internet, in certain places of the actual physical known world, there are groups of people who understand and know this knowledge, but it's mostly because they're either trans or involved in the LGBTQ community, or they do like research and stuff. They write, you know, studies, or they're like philosophically trained. One of those more niche kind of ways to live your life and expand your knowledge on the community itself, which is LGBTQ, is required in order to like
have this as general knowledge because I had no idea. I'm transgender. I'm trans fucking gender, and I've been transgender for 4 years. This year I learned about xenogenders, even though I already remembered I had heard of them in the past. But if someone would have asked me, even just fucking like 3 months ago, what is xenogender? I would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? And if they were like, Zer, dream gender and all that, I'm like, oh, well, that's just gender itself, isn't it? Like, because I already saw things as a plane of existence in whichever way you want to go. It's basically like space, right? Space is ever expanding. There's no real edge to it, although there's an edge to what we can see. That's basically the concept of gender. There's no real end to how someone can identify, but there is a all-encompassing knowledge across the world of what is generally known as the space of gender. But it isn't it isn't all encompassed in that, but it's supposed to. It's supposed to. So that basically the space of gender right now is like trans, non-binary, male, female, other. And the others can be described in so many ways: gender fluid, fucking asexual, agender, that's sexuality, but agender, and xenogender and otherkin. I'm otherkin, by the way, but um all those others are what's outside of our like current expanding view of what is the space of gender. So it's a lot of it's probably like 90% of the population, probably even more, like 95% of the population won't know what the fuck you're talking about if you say xenogender. So you can't like Chariot saying you can't really get too mad at someone for being flabbergasted or for being confused because they probably never heard of this concept in their entire life. And probably they haven't heard of many trans concepts or non-binary concepts in the first place to begin with. Because if I go in the same crowd of people and I go, what is non-binary? Some people might go, I don't really know, but I've heard of it. Other people would probably go, it's just fake. And other people would probably go, it means neither. It's known, but it's still not, like, solidified as, like, a fucking known gender. It's still like a gender fluid. If I go, what is gender fluid? Most people would be like, I don't know and I don't care. Like, basically no one would answer it. It means that you can move. You can shift your sort of femininity, masculinity, non-binary. Within your gender, within your expression, that just naturally happens to you. And most people wouldn't really know what to say, even though gender fluid has been around for years. It's been known for years too. So yeah, you can't really get too mad at someone. Agreed, Chad.
You can very easily imagine somebody like that hearing about a trans woman and be like, "No, that's a man. What are you talking about?"
Pretty much.
And it's not like I've been misgendered on accident and stuff before.
Yep, me too.
And it doesn't always come from a malicious place.
No, it doesn't, because you can, as I've said, be ignorantly transphobic. I don't think I really mentioned that, like how that can be. But like, for instance, for me, when I'm wearing a coat or when I'm wearing something that covers my shoulders and expresses how large and broad my back is, most people are confused as to what my gender might or might not be unless they see my hair, unless they see some kind of feminine aspect of me. Because my legs are also muscular and I'm also tall, and I have I don't know a trans way of moving. I can't really put it any other way, because my body moves with a heavier upper body. So a lot of people from a distance would see me, or even up close, if they don't see my face or they don't see my hair, would basically assume I'm a man because of the shape of my body, the box shape of my body. Whereas a feminine shape is more like oval or round, and it goes down. So that would be ignorance. That wouldn't be like purposeful transphobia. If they met me as a person, knew that I was a woman, and I expressed that to them, and then verbally after were to say, you're actually a man and I disagree with you, that would be transphobia. Known transphobia, acknowledged transphobia, self-detrimental transphobia, and furthermore, if you take that and don't say it to my face, but take that inside and you go, well, that was a man and this is, that's all I know. Like, the chromosomes were XY and not XX. And you take that in, that's more like, it's partially fear of like the societal, um, uh, which is why it's like phobia. It's fear of trans people. It's the fear of the societal lashback. Like, say if this lady says, no, that was a woman, and then her husband comes home and like, stop calling men women. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? She's probably going to be influenced to not make that decision again and be like, okay, trans women are men. That's it. But if and then also there's the fear itself of being correct. You've been wrong. Nothing is worse than acknowledging for years that you've been wrong. Pretty much. Because I've known for years that my family were good and kind people until I look back into my history and remember all the abuse and remember all their fucking xenophobia and remember all their fucking like transphobia and gay hate and all that stuff. And I was wrong. And looking back, I cried for a long time, months, in therapy to remember that. So that it could even trigger them to have emotional reactions to it, because if they actually come to the conclusion that the reality is this person has boobs, doesn't have a dick, and is very feminine, and men are attracted to them for their femininity, and women hang out around them because they also have a feminine brain. It's just everything is pointing to obviously that's female, and if you have to accept that, that might be a little mind blowing. So, some people are just afraid of the revelation itself. Most people are afraid of the social backlash. And I think the last is other people can be afraid of the religious backlash. Because, like, even though there's, like, yeah, sure, a ton of people in religion who would be awful to you for you acknowledging that trans people are legitimately trans and women and men and so on. There's also the like the higher power, the God of in my head, the God in my spirit, the God in my soul knows that if I accept the reality that makes sense, I go to hell for it. Like that is another part of the fear within phobia, the phobia of transphobia. I'd be terrified if I thought there was an all-knowing, all-powerful, all-controlling being in my fucking head or in my soul that can send me to eternal torment just for being a decent person. Like, if I knew that, I'd be terrified. I'd tiptoe everywhere I go. Right? So, those people who are afraid of us, they have a lot of obstacles in front of them before they can accept that it's safe to accept trans people. And if at that point, say, everyone in your community would accept you, God approves of it, and you've been wrong, but it's okay, and you accept all these things, there's still the phobia of new interaction, new experiences, new like, it's not just this revelation you've been wrong all this time. You have to change, and that is fucking terrifying. Who wants to change? No one wants to change that way. Everyone wants to change gradually over time in a way that they decide, not in a way that society decides for them how to change. Why are you telling me I now have to call men women? I'm confused. It's difficult for people to understand and to comprehend and to like live in that. I guarantee you there are people who acknowledge that it's rational to accept trans women as women because they present with boobs and have all these very feminine aspects to their personal body, even and their aspects of their character and their mind, but had to switch or convince themselves they had to switch back to seeing trans women as men because it's just interfering with their normal day-to-day life. And it isn't doing as much as they're afraid of, but it is doing something. It is doing a lot, but it isn't doing that much. Like, for instance, you come across trans people all the time and you respect trans people now, but you see a non-binary person looks feminine and you say, hey, and then they're they say actually they're like hey what's up girl, and they say actually I'm non-binary, I don't have any genders, and then you're like fuck, when does it end? When do I have to stop changing for people so that everyone can just accept me as a nice and decent person? That doesn't make sense in comparison to the trans person. The trans person presents all feminine and all that, but you're presenting all feminine and all that, and you don't want to be called she her, so what do I do? Like that sort of anxiety about the changes that have to be made if you live this decision is also another part of the fear. So 4 fears, that constantly loom over you. And you're like, well, what is it worth? Why do I have to change? My community is already transphobic, and we still get along with trans people. When we meet trans people, we disrespect them and mistreat them, but we never personally hurt them. We never stop them from moving. We never nothing about their personal body. It's just about our minds and about our language. Like they can get over that and walk on and move along, and someone else will call them a girl. I don't have to change for that. I don't have to compromise my life just for everyone else who's living out here in this weird and wacky way, which I'm not used to, which the whole world isn't used to, which I shouldn't have to get used to, because maybe my children will. I hope they don't, but it doesn't really matter if I'm there or I'm not there and they make that decision. I'm not going to make that decision because I don't want my life to have to be turned upside down just so that other people can feel better about themselves, because I feel bad about myself too. There's plenty there's plenty of excuses as to why it's a better idea to remain transphobic, but it is still excuses, even though there is backlash and there is negativity that comes with it. Like for instance, I lost every single one of my friends when I came out as trans. Every single one. No one was there. It was just me in my room considering suicide. That's all it was. At the time that I came out as trans, my sister cried and begged me to stop. My best friend told me that I was a child and that I was deciding a childish action to live in. And my partners and everyone else whom I thought would be my partners and all that, they disappeared out of my life completely. And I was left alone with myself, with the knowledge that my whole life had legitimately been turned upside down, and that there was no one on the other side other than other people who wanted to use me. And over the years, I've been used by these people as a trans person, as a sexual kink object, to survive. My life has been fucking hell. There's a lot of bullshit I really wish I evaded, and can only have been evaded in a big way, in a big portion. There are times I could have ran quicker to get away, but in a big portion, although I did run many times, though in a big portion, couldn't have been avoided because I am who I am. I would have still met other people who would have made my situation even worse for my being trans, regardless if it was those people or those circumstances. So, the true fear that is true that cis people have about accepting trans people is more, is like not even half the blow that I took. It's like a fourth or an eighth of the blow that you have to take. Because the thing is, hey, you're a cis woman in the middle of fucking, we're gonna make it the worst situation ever, okay? In the middle of fucking Thanksgiving with 2 families over and the whole kind of small town aspect. Everyone knows what everyone says eventually because word gets around. And you tweet it as well. Let's just say you put it on social media, your biggest social media platform. You put it on the internet and you put it in real life and you say, hey, I accept trans women. Trans women are feminine and they are women. Now, maybe everyone at the table disagrees with you and laughs at you and mocks you. And you start an argument which lasts a really long time, ruins the party, and everyone leaves, and you're left alone with your husband who doesn't hate you, but is mad at you for having done that. What happens then, most likely? We're going to go worst case scenario and best case scenario. What happens then, most likely, is everyone thinks that you're wrong and that you're being ignorant. And they mistreat you. Maybe you lose some interaction with some people. Maybe they start calling you names for having believed this. Maybe even your own children start trusting you less because they think that your rationality is off because the father says so. Now, this is a very bad case scenario. And what ends up happening basically is the two of you get into such an argument with the community and all that no one's comfortable. And Jesus Christ, I mean, I can't really go that far as to say like a divorce would happen because it's not really rational or reasonable, but probably the worst thing that happens is you two need to relocate because the small town fucking hates your guts and wants you to die. But that's not fucking really that, feasible either. Probably the most feasible is everyone moves on and everyone acknowledges that you have those opinions. And the second worst case scenario, like the not the best, not the worst, is everyone thinks you're kind of dumb and silly and they don't really understand, but it's just a joke that mom said that one time, and then it's a joke that mom repeats. Like, you're ignored, but you get to live in your same normal life. So you're not sacrificing half as much or 3 times as much or any times as much, an eighth as much as I sacrificed for my entire life, for my entire family, for my entire world, for my mother to die, saying, detransition, that would make me die in peace. Okay? I had to sacrifice everything just to say, I've finally come out of the closet and I can. And once I had, everyone left me, everyone abandoned me, everyone mistreated me. I went to the stores, and everyone gave me dirty looks, didn't even let me into stores. They stopped me from going into stores for wearing a dress. I've been rejected in society. You fear partial rejection, okay? It's not that bad. It's not that bad for you. It's annoying, it's difficult, it makes your life a little more complex, it makes your long-standing battle to maintain, respect for others a little difficult, because a lot of people try to nudge you into being a little transphobic here and there sometimes. But it is nothing in comparison to having to be that thing walking around. It is nothing in comparison to have to be that thing and look in the mirror. It is nothing in comparison to have to be that thing, put on makeup, put on a dress, put on, get your nails done, fucking fix your nose, fix your face, get a vagina, look in the mirror and say, I am not happy because this is not what I want to be. This is not how I want to live. This is not what I want life to be. Because I will never be satisfied, never fully satisfied like you are in your body as a cis woman. And in the ways that you're unhappy with yourself, not only am I also unhappy with myself, I have dysphoria and body dysmorphia. These things are lifelong, mostly. Some people claim that getting the surgery can completely eliminate dysphoria. I feel that I'm one of the people that no matter what surgery I do, it won't go away. So my battle is fucking scary. Your battle is a little tough. It's not that hard to want to respect people. Either way, I went on a fucking rant, and damn, okay, cool. We get it. I think if we really need to, we'll come back to this video, but everyone please watch the video, The Great Xenogender War. Responding to Vosh, we didn't watch much of it, and we skimmed through a lot of it, but I want to go to the Riley Grace Roshong. Riley Grace Roshong. Demonmama. I love Demonmama, by the way. Demonmama is awesome. Goes ballistic because I won't be sure. Reviewing Riley Grace Roshong, Demonmama debate about what is a woman. Demonmama exposed how Riley Grace Roshong and Destiny destroyed a community. Okay, this is only 30 minutes long. So I watched this debate, and I have a couple things to say. I wanna see the full video as well, to see if we can find it on our own, because I've watched this a couple times. So I already know the sort of spaces that it's gonna be in. Oh wait, no, not that part. And yes, Riley Grace Roshong acted like a kind of like a child recently, but it doesn't really matter. Let's see. Don't you have the full? Oh wait, yeah, you do have the full debate here. There's the original VOD. Cool. The text should be at the top. Yep.
Had a racist bias. Now,
trying this grapevine for food, like the pro tip is if you have nothing, like ramen is usually like the
Watch the face change.
easiest essentialized onto men must also be essentialized onto women.
right.
Or on the trans boy moding. I'm just gonna go straight into it, right?
Sure.
Now I think that there is a really compelling argument that that person subjectively is a
Okay, so what I'm gonna look at her head position to try and find
Hello, everyone.
the
My name is Demonmama.
moment.
I'm a political
Hi, Demon.
edutainer and streamer
Yes, you
here
are.
on YouTube with a wonderful, warm community of people devoted to helping one another grow and thrive.
Yup.
I'm a non-binary trans woman who uses she, her pronouns.
Yep.
Recently, as the result of a conflict with another content creator and streamer by the name of Riley Grace Roshong, some pretty major claims have been circling around about me.
Yep.
The claims are, succinctly, as follows. The first claim is that I am an immoral person for irresponsibly pushing a bad argument for gender self-identification. The second claim is that I am irresponsible in general with my platform as a public trans person and should be deplatformed. The third claim is that I am a bad faith interlocutor who abuses other people and deliberately uses manipulative tactics to harm others.
Okay, cool.
I disagree strongly with all of these
Sorry,
claims
first.
being made about me, and in this video, I will provide evidence and context that will reveal how grossly irresponsible and uncharitable and dishonest these claims are.
Bop, bop, bop.
Part 1. History and context. The debate with Riley Grace Roshong.
I certainly hope my mic's
Riley and I
working.
have been friendly
Anyways,
colleagues for
thank
some
you
time,
for saying
and our
too.
robust Discord communities have been partnered for about 2 months until Riley broke off this partnership without communication on Monday, February 15th, following a debate that broke out on our channels. Originally, Riley had come by for a joke meme conversation about furries and about Godzilla vs. King Kong. As you can tell, this was a lighthearted, fun conversation with no real stakes, which was not included in Riley's uploaded video. At some point, we mutually grew bored of this conversation and began discussing other things, including various chit-chat about online streaming, being trans, etc. A minor disagreement with another creator was brought up casually, and from this, a secondary topic arose.
but also doesn't include people who we don't want to include,
Okay.
right? We probably don't want
Head position. Okay, so you're facing. Take him. Probably right around.
an HRT wait time. You go on HRT for like 2 or 3 years, then I think that I want to say
Similar, not the same. There's a reason I want to find the full VOD.
early 2000s.
Okay.
Say that like, and this is my, all right, this is also my take. Okay. Let's say that you're also a trans woman who did not have a ton of access to gender affirming care earlier in life.
Sure.
And so you go on through life, and then later on in life, you're like, oh shit, I'm trans, but also it's early 2000s. People are going to treat me shittily, but whatever. I'm going to fucking own it. I'm going to start going on HRT. I'm going to start presenting femme. Fuck boy moding. I'm just going to go straight into it, right?
Yep.
Sure.
Boy moding's
Now, I
fucked.
think that there is a really compelling
Can't wait to
argument
get
that
rid
person
of all my
subjectively
clothes.
is a
Really.
woman, right? They have taken, they've taken a lot of materially important steps to, for example, like start identifying as a woman, to start expressing themselves as a woman, to start telling other people
Sure.
that they're a woman. Like they took those steps because
Yep. We all did.
they realized they had to do that. Like it's not just a choice. Like they realized that they were intrinsically a woman,
Yep.
right?
Sure.
But then when they go outside, they may not be treated as a woman because society
Not at
is
all.
at this point, based on the average reasonable person's interpretation of what a woman means, they may go outside and they may not be treated as a woman. that is not necessarily like that has nothing to do with their subjectivity, like their subjective understanding of gender. And that's not saying anything negative about their subjective
the subjective and objective understanding of gender. This is the whole debate, which goes fucking wild, and we're going to talk about it in a bit, and we're going to have plenty of examples. But the whole thing that Riley Grace Roshong is saying here is that there's an objective a part of gender, which is like what your kind of soul of a dualist is. Well, I don't think she's a dualist, but because she's all like science and blah blah. But like it's like the intrinsic parts of being your gender. Like a non-binary person who was born was always going to be a non-binary person. Like that's why we say I was born non-binary, not I was born male or I was born female, because you know, I personally, I say I'm born trans. I was born a trans woman because I knew ever since I was 5 that I wasn't a boy. I knew ever since I could remember that I wasn't a boy, that my name wasn't the name that was assigned to me, that my gender wasn't the gender that was assigned to me. I personally believe that I myself have been an am, but how can we say that someone who's gender fluid or agender or agender or fucking non-binary gender, non-binary is wrong for saying that I was born a boy and I became non-binary? That's their experience. This is my experience. I don't think that is an objective standpoint that you can stand on to say anyone who's trans is gonna be born trans from the very beginning, because some people disagree who are trans. So, you know, you can't blanket statement like that, even if it makes you comfortable, because it would make me comfortable too. It'd make me comfortable to know that I was born from the very beginning to be a trans woman. That'd be like, wow, like see, I can fucking prove it to you. Like see, I told you the whole time you were wrong and I was right, because I knew who I was and you didn't know who I was and you never bothered to know. Well, most of that's fucking true. At the same time, you can't say that that is the same experience someone else went through for years after transitioning and transitioning again. Like, you know, you don't know what somebody's journey is, and you can't decide for them how they were born. They can only tell you how they feel they were born, because they can only remember so much in their past because they've been living for years. Like, you know, that's the objective standpoint of gender, like something that was always going to happen, or that always is, or that innately is a part of it. And then the subjective is like your expression. Okay. Anyways, Yep.
And this is probably my this is probably like my spiciest trans take. But I think I'm pretty pilled on this or whatever.
All right, sure.
I don't think that we can just say anyone who identifies as trans is trans.
Oh, man, that is so good. I don't think we can just say that anyone who identifies as trans is trans. Now, that's true and false. If somebody tells you legitimately feels trans and is trans, you know, they tell you I'm trans but have no history, none at all, because I've experienced this myself. No history at all of telling anyone or explaining to anyone. You're the first person they tell. You're the first person they even express it to. And that's all they do, is they express it to you through word. And they continue to boy mode, or they continue to mask who they actually are to everyone else. But to you, they told you that one time, and then they reject it even later. Like, let's say even later they reject it. But it is the truth. They are trans, and they're just afraid of having it get out there. And they told you that. That person is definitely trans, and that's definitely obvious. However, if some troll on the internet or some troll IRL says, I'm a trans woman, and he's like this bearded random guy that's been a man all his life, and he's like, I'm gonna go into the women's bathroom, and he wants to go into the women's bathroom to be a fucking pervert, it's very obvious that he isn't trans. It's very obvious. And then also, like, the troll at the same time, like someone on Reddit who's like, well, I'm trans, so you can't call me he him, and then they're like, oh, well, I'm sorry, miss, and they're like, well, I'm not a miss either, I'm non-binary trans, and then you're like, well, I'm sorry, you know, they them, I'm sorry, and they're like, no, it is, and like, you know, trying to cause those problems, like, very clearly. Or they're like, you know, my friend identifies as a hookup, and I identify as a woman. Like, these kind of obvious things, like, obviously we could say those people are just jackasses, you know, those aren't trans people. But, you know, the problem comes as to when somebody is questioning, they're an egg, they're going to become trans, but they haven't yet, and they're questioning that, and they're even like kind of like playing with the idea that it can even be possible. Like, yeah, like, you know, it could be, but I'm kind of happy the way I am. You know, I'm happy the way I am, but I would be happier that way. And they say, well, you know what? I feel like I want this more than that, and I am this more than that. So, you know, I want people to treat me this way, and I feel this way. So I'm just gonna be open about it. I'm gonna say, I'm trans. You know I don't look trans, or I don't act trans, but I'm actually trans. That's the situation as to where Riley Grace Roshong is wrong, because those kind of people are also trans. That's normally how it happens, because you decide that it's just it's not the way that you want to live your life, and there has to become a moment where it's an epiphany to realize that you're trans yourself, and sometimes it's unsafe to come out all the time. So Riley Grace Roshong probably would argue right now that these people who are saying that they're trans and just saying that they're trans are different than this person who's actually having the epiphany that they're trans. So, let's say that this person is like just says it once ever. All they ever say once in their entire life is I'm trans, and they never say it again. And they basically act like their assumed gender or their assigned gender for the rest of their life, and then they die. Can you say that that person isn't trans because of their actions, because of the way that they live, and because of the way and the way that they do things? Maybe, maybe not. That's the gray area that Riley Grace Roshong won't accept. That maybe they did genuinely mean that and never came out because they were just too afraid of the backlash and they didn't know what was going to happen. But they said it once, at least once, to get it out there, and then lived the rest of their lives in a safe way, died in a safe way, but were trans the whole fucking time. There's a chance of that happening, which is why we have to believe people when they say they're trans, regardless if they're online or anonymous or whatever, and a troll using the account to get in, you know, close to the LGBTQ community to in the end explode it or whatever. Like, we have to trust that, because if we don't, then we risk being transphobic to trans people and, you know, encouraging them to commit suicide. It's much worse for someone to commit suicide than for your channel to go down or something like that to happen. So we problem solve, and we do like a catastrophe scale as to what's the worst thing that could happen, and the worst thing that can happen is you're being made a fool of, and that's not that bad. And the other worst thing that can happen, basically, someone else gets power to hurt trans people even more by getting accepted into the community as a trans person. Now, that's pretty hard to do if you're not doing it online and anonymously, but at the same time, doing it online and anonymously, getting close enough to trans people to manipulate them, is, you know, it's also a very big possibility, and it is damaging, and you know, it shouldn't be done, and it's bad. But you can't blame someone for having wanted to just respect a trans person because they said they were trans, and they know who they are more than you know who they are, because they are them and you are you. But yeah, basically.
From here on out, the conversation was incredibly personal and intense.
Oh, yeah.
And I was doing my absolute best to de-escalate and communicate my desire to no longer participate in the conversation. While I recognize that I could have forcefully ended the call after my requests to halt the topic were ignored, I considered Riley trustworthy and a friend, and I did not feel comfortable kicking her from my Discord in order to end a conversation on my show. My show is my job. Ending a conversation abruptly could also mean ending the show, and it would leave many viewers unsatisfied, frustrated, and with misunderstandings in their minds. I have never before had a caller, colleague, or a friend push me to continue discussing a topic after repeated requests to move from it.
But righteously mad.
Predictably, the conversation became increasingly intense. Riley was raising her voice, talking over me, and repeatedly used terms like, I need you to answer this question. I'm going to need you to just answer this one question. Just answer this one question.
Oh, yeah.
For
That's something I want to talk about debates for a long time, which I've seen Destiny do and have done to him, is this, like sort of like conversation funneling. Like having a conversation and exploring the boundaries of a funnel to allow for a particular subject to have to come up, to need it to come up. And the problem with this and the reason why this is a fallacy because instead of just trying to get your interlocutor to admit to like bias or admit to misunderstanding or admit to some kind of fault in their argument rather than getting them to admit it, you can point out that those are flaws in the argument. You don't have to ask them whether or not they'll give the yes or no answer, so that you can go in on them either this way or that way. Because if they want to say no, or they want to answer nuanced, or they want to answer I want to keep talking about something else, then you can still bring up in your time to speak about the issue that you think is possibly relevant, but you can't make it relevant. You can't make it have to happen. Destiny was recently talking about these webs that people put out, whereas like there are certain places in the conversation that people will or there's certain traps set around the conversation, so that if you agree or disagree or talk about a subject, it then makes your character this way or that way, so that they can defame you with accusations of those relations, like or of those like similarities to those points. Like to say somebody is a neo-Nazi because they believe that something negative about Black Twitter, and they might not be a Nazi, but they might be racist, or they might be prejudiced, or they might be evil or rude or bad. They might not be fully racist or fully prejudiced, but they're expressing prejudice or racist sentiments. Then you call them a Nazi. There's a very difference between assigning yourself to the Aryan Brotherhood and getting a swastika on the front of your head versus fucking being a racist or bigoted or bad person. Like, so you can't funnel it into that, because what you're doing is you're doing bad discourse, because you're doing what do you call that? Oh, that's like it's basically like a false messaging. It's like making sure to like be making sure to like defame. I'm gonna use defame again, but defame your interlocutor with they still are, but non-appearing ad homs, like ad homs that don't really appear. Because if somebody goes, I believe that Black people belong on Twitter, but a lot of things they say are dumb or something like that, and then you're like, oh man, you sound like a Nazi, you're a fucking Nazi, man, and it's like, then you're seen as like having righteously convicted somebody of being a bad person. And even if you're being hyperbolic, that the way that you wrap them in that to compare them to something that isn't them is seen as justified because of the interaction beforehand. But if you just go out and you're like, you're a Nazi, dude, and the guy's like, and the guy didn't actually say anything during that conversation, and you're like, you're then seen as giving a very clear ad hom. It's not hidden. It's not like sneaked away and into the conversation. So it's like a sneaky way of being bad faith in conversation. And it is what Riley Roshong does when she says, answer me, yes or no, answer me, yes or no, answer me, yes or no. And it's childish, honestly. She doesn't need that yes or no. She needs to engage. She needs to stop forcing Demonmama to kind of like either bend or limbo. Like, she doesn't need to. There's no need for the conversation to continue to make someone have to answer a yes or no question. That's the point of debate normally, is to be able to fluidly move with the conversation regardless of the obstacles that come up, because there are a lot in conversation, because there are a lot of disagreements, and there are a lot of agreements, and there are a lot of gray areas. But if you can't come to a conclusion on your own, you cannot force someone else to come to that conclusion for you. What you must do is leave it as nebulous and to be discovered, or try again to discover within the conversation respectfully, not bad faith. But Riley Roshong and Demonmama are bad faith sometimes. However, Demonmama shouts, like, okay, so we're going to see Demonmama shouts very loud and aggressively, and that is sure to trigger anyone on the other side to feel mad or upset or scared about the topic that's being discussed, because suddenly it's become aggressive. Now that is slightly bad faith. More bad faith is Riley Roshong leaving the fucking debate by saying fuck you and all this other terrible bullshit. Like, Riley Roshong is absolutely the one who made the worst bad faith argument here. Well, Demonmama's argument was salient and valid. The overreacting and yelling and shouting and kind of slight mistreatment of Riley Roshong was enough to put Riley Roshong over the edge to have this blow up. So I think it could have been handled better by both of them. However, Riley Roshong had the bigger pull to carry because, either way, she had more she could have done to be good faith. Whereas Demonmama tried really hard to support Riley Roshong the whole time, to laugh with her and be her friend and be positive, for Demonmama to disagree, for Riley Roshong to get hostile. Now, it didn't help that Demonmama shouted. However, it was all in Riley Roshong's ability to not get hostile like she did. But she did, and she made a mistake, and now she looks like a fucking clown all over the internet, kind of hating on everyone and saying no one will listen to me. Why won't anyone listen to me? Why won't anyone listen to me? Now, it is my belief that Riley Roshong might possibly be doing this on purpose to be the batshit crazy right one, to do this sort of posturing in media as this the crazy scientist sort of, like, nobody believes me, nobody can believe me, but I'm right, I know I'm right. And even being wrong at the same time as saying that creates an archetype which can be followed. Like, I feel this way, or that's someone I would want to root for, or that's interesting, I like this kind of story, and people engage with it rather than being like, man, that Demonmama debate wasn't so good, but, I'm glad I still have my fans, and I'm glad I still have, my community. I'm glad I still have what I built, because I have nothing in comparison to you two with this whole political debate, support stuff. But I won't act like a fucking, mad person and say no one will listen to me and start crying about no one listening to me, because it's not the truth. Even though a lot of times in my life a lot of people do ignore me in person, here you can hear my voice, and here, even if you don't listen to me, you have, even if you listened for a second, and I won't claim that no one will ever listen to me. So I think Riley Roshong is playing it up for a character to play in media. And I think Demonmama is also playing it up when she yells and shouts and screams to act more like her, Vosh and Destiny, who get all these, like, riled. Like, as soon as you get that riled, then, like, it makes it clip worthy, especially if you had a good conversation up till then. I think Demonmama could control herself and not yelled and not screamed and not been, slightly hostile to make Riley Roshong awfully hostile. And I think Riley Roshong could have carried this debate in stride, still been friends with Demonmama, still been friends with everyone, still kept her mods without having to act like, out of proportion like she has. However, she let her mods go, she let a lot of people of her community go, she let the relationship between her and Demonmama go. So it appears as if, she's so dead set in her ways that she's willing to sacrifice the majority of the people around her in order to be right. However, Sargon of Akkad does this same thing. He's willing to act like a blockhead in front of everyone and say, no, the facts aren't the facts because I don't feel like the facts are the facts all the fucking time, and I'm right. That's his sort of argument all the time. Like, I don't feel like this is good enough. I don't feel like that makes sense enough. I don't feel like this is, coherent enough. for me to be able to understand it, if I can't understand it, and I spend my time in this stuff, how are my normal audience supposed to understand it, you know? Obviously, I'm right, because you can understand me. You can't understand this bullshit. Like, that is his constant, play, his character of, like I am right, and the reason I am right is because I can't be wrong. But they explain these other different excuses. Sargon's excuse for why he must be right and he can't be wrong is because he's being rational, and because he's being calm, and because he's taken time, and because he can't understand like nonsense. That's what I can't understand is nonsense. So anything I can't understand is nonsense. But then that fallacy travels to when facts come his way and he wants them to be nonsense. It's nonsense the same way Riley Grace Roshong wants to see that facts come her way, everyone disagrees with her, and she's wrong. She ignores it, and instead decides that, for herself, that she must be right because she tried so hard. Because her points make more sense, because she's coherent. It's very similar. Either way, it doesn't matter. Let's go.
Multiple different questions. This gave me the direct impression that I would be severely judged or impugned if I did not answer. At one point, the shouting got so intense that I threatened to mute, not kick, Riley, and I temporarily carried through with that in order to express my discomfort with the discussion once again. As the conversation
of gender is different from how society is treating you.
Okay.
Right? That doesn't make you less of a woman. That's acknowledging that society is not treating you in the way that you want them to interpret your expressions.
Okay. But you do realize that in your definition of gender, you use...
One second. God, I gotta find a better way of being able to do Twitch and responding in chat. But it doesn't really matter that much. Let's go.
The word gender 2 times. So you said that gender is a totality of objective gender and subjective gender.
Yeah,
so
there you go, the objective and subjective. I think we're going to find it in this video.
There were mutual misunderstandings and miscommunications, which are the natural result of complicated discussions on highly personal topics. And for minor disagreements or slights, I do not impugn Riley or anyone for that matter. I myself became defensive at times and certainly had some misunderstandings of my own.
Yes, you did.
However,
thank you for acknowledging
this conversation did not stop at minor misunderstandings or miscommunications. At multiple points in the conversation, Riley implied heavily that I was being irresponsible with my platform as a public trans person.
No, I am getting frustrated because you're a public figure, and if you make a bad argument and other people adopt your bad argument, then you are going to
So
leave
you
them
are making the... This is why I said... So I was correct in saying that you're making the Destiny argument.
What do you mean I'm making the Destiny argument?
You're actually saying...
you make an
a
argument
public figure. Well, guess what? Right now, you are being cringe. And as a representative, a public figure... As a representative and a public figure who is representing trans people, by your own argument, your cringiness right now...
Wait, hold on, wait. How am I being cringe? By pointing out how you are being clearly logically inconsistent? How the fuck is that being cringe? I'm looking out for people to make sure that they don't make dumb fuck arguments and lead themselves into bad situations that you would lead them into.
Riley, this is exactly why... No, stop this.
I just saw hands lifted in the air. Let's see if we can find the hands lifted in the air. I'm sorry. We got hands right here.
Trying to convince them and have a discourse with them. You just dislike them, like Ben Shapiro or whoever else. Dunk them. Make them look like a fool. Quote retweet them and make fun.
There's a problem early on.
Okay.
So the person, I want to return to this hypothetical because
Sure.
this is very important to me. Okay, so this person,
Mhm.
pre-transition trans woman,
Mhm.
self-identified.
And we're just going to go after fuck. Alright. I'm
Harming
getting
people
tired.
when you
Riley,
are literally harming
stop
people
this.
and impugning me morally.
Riley, holy God. This, to me, is a rather severe accusation that fixates on my identity in a way that I was not and am not comfortable with. I expressed discomfort with this throughout the conversation, which was ignored. In my genuine attempt to engage in good faith, I was willing to open up about a severely traumatic experience I had during the process of my gender transition. This was harshly questioned and was later, as I will show, used against me in a way that is nothing short of cruel and offensive. Towards the end of the discussion, I was feeling very hurt, but was still attempting to engage in good faith. At this point, I said that I felt like this conversation had become an attempt to justify the existence of trans people via logic, but that trans people should not have to justify themselves in the marketplace of ideas. This statement was meant to be an olive branch, but appears to have been misinterpreted very negatively, and Riley, following this, swore at me and left the call.
Yep,
While I do not believe that what I said was particularly out of line, I realize how, in the moment, it was not as clear as it could have been. Nonetheless, my imperfect communication here does not justify what has followed in the days since the debate. After she left the call, I was extremely frustrated and distressed, and one of my lead mods advised me to end stream and cool off because it was clear that I was hurting. I agreed, and I ended the stream.
But I think it's part of her character.
Concurrently, Riley continued streaming, where she became embroiled in a debate with members of her own community, including her admin team and her moderators. During this conflict, she banned me from her Discord, which I have been a member of for over half a year, blocked me on social media, and deleted the Discord partnership which my Discord team and her Discord team have both worked on extensively. From the moment the debate ended, there was a loose consensus in the leadership of both of our communities that this had not been productive and should not become the topic of further stream or YouTube content. I agreed with my team's assessment, especially because so many deeply personal issues had come up during the debate, and we took action to unlist and unlink the video of the debate immediately. The video of the debate has remained unlisted and unlinked until now, at which point it has become necessary for the record to be set straight. There is a link to the full debate down below, including the content that was removed by Riley. Riley, prompted similarly by her team, including her editor, was unwilling to commit to unlisting the video, and the conflict with her team continued. At the time, unbeknownst to me, into the next day, Tuesday, the 16th of February. Part 2. The death of a community.
Alright. So before it comes up, I don't know if it's going to come up, but, we're 8 minutes in. Again, I thought the video way early, but I have some things to say. So Riley Grace Roshong's argument is people who say they are a helicopter cannot be seen as trans, cannot be seen as legitimately, a helicopter, because they say it, therefore, someone who's saying they're trans just because they say it is also the same. They have to express, enact, and live the life of a trans person first before we can agree that they are trans. However, if we do that, that is dangerous to trans people because there are some trans people who want to be fucking trans right now and they need support. And if you want to say that, they're like, I'm trans and I want to live the trans life, and they're like, and you're like, well, I can't believe you just because you said that, or we can't believe everyone who just says that. You have to live it now. You're kind of like, you're giving them an ultimatum: either make the decision to start being trans now, or you're not trans enough to actually be trans. And there is no not trans enough. You are always trans enough. You're always trans enough. Always, always, always. As me and Demonmama are arguing, you are always trans enough to be trans if you say you are trans. Okay. But Riley Grace Roshong is saying that it's a fallacy because of somebody. If we just believe a random anon that says they're trans, okay, maybe this woman who's trans obviously needs support, and I'd support them. But if it was just an anon randomly who's saying I'm trans and I think trans women should be treated as an object or something, obviously that's like fucking a troll using the word I'm trans, and if we take that example and then we extrapolate it to the other example where someone just says I'm trans randomly to get into a community where they can use that to hurt other people, like that's sort of her argument there, is that we can't just accept anyone who just says they're trans. They have to also express transness, which is a fallacy in itself, because there is no expression of particular transness. There's a lot of different transness. You can relate to a lot of trans people in a ton of ways. Like, I relate to other trans women I meet all the time in such huge ways. However, we are different people all the time, and there are ways me and that trans woman can't relate anyway, in any kind of way, and it's all to do with our trans experience. So, that's a fallacy in itself to say there is a particular trans experience or a particular trans expression. Because there are all sorts of expressions that can be trans and all sorts of experiences that can be trans.
Since the day of the debate, nearly every member of Riley Grace Roshong's admin and moderation teams has resigned publicly. As of the writing of this script, I have been informed that only 6 members of that team remain. I now know that over the course of Tuesday the 16th, the admin and moderation teams, which includes multiple of Riley's personal friends, attempted to dissuade her from posting the video to YouTube as a mainline video. These requests were not respected, and despite protest from her own editor, Riley decided to proceed with posting her own edited version of the video.
Oh, yeah, super stressed. Oh, who needs to be stressed? I just got home from my externship in Annapolis while multiple friends of mine left the server, and also I had class while I was learning that Destiny was looking at a debate that I had yesterday that's been destroying my community. Yeah, no, it's been great.
Riley's personal edit of the video contained a portion of an out-of-context casual conversation about my disagreements with a prominent member of another large streamer's community. Riley has since admitted on her own stream to including this section intentionally, as she now agrees with this member's assessment that I am too crazy to interact with. In the following clip, Riley is disagreeing live on air with her own editor, who confronts her about this.
You're not gonna even fucking listen to us.
No, I am listening to you. I'm willing to listen to people
your
if there's a
community
point,
fucking die. It feels like it's burning to the ground, and I hate it.
No, I'm not going. Like, I'm going to listen to you. Like, what do you think I'm doing right now? I'm literally listening to you. We are talking right now. I'm listening to you. Okay?
If you had listened to us at the right time, you wouldn't have that video up. You wouldn't have fucking Destiny here dropping the R word, dropping the T slur.
Okay, listen. You're able to.
Following the launch of the video, Riley was invited by the streamer Destiny to appear on his show to discuss her debate with me. The tone and rationality in Destiny's previous engagements with me speak for themselves.
Dude, I felt myself becoming misogynistic just listening to her argue. Oh my God. I was turning into an incel in real time. Every time she spoke another sentence, I had to kick Mel another 2 feet away from me because I hated women that much more. She's bad enough that when I haven't posted my first video yet with her because I want her to die and fade into obscurity on the internet and never come back. That's how horrible I think.
I don't want to give any more attention to Demonmama. The Scrub King, if you want to go argue with her, you'll give yours. That's fine. Honest to God, I think she's a worthless piece of shit that nobody should listen to. She actively harms the trans community. She actively harms any SJW, left-leaning social causes. She actively harms women. She actively harms discourse on Twitch. She actively harms any community she would ever try to advocate for or speak on behalf of. She is an incredibly damaging, disgusting, vitriolic, harmful figure to any of these causes on Twitch. I don't really want to showcase that. If I'm ever bringing them on here, it's literally just to make fun of them because fuck that person.
Wow.
As you can see, Destiny has been very explicit about his desire to no longer see me with a platform.
Yep.
It naturally follows that his fan base has repeated these claims extensively and fabricated their own dishonest claims to match. Numerous prominent members of his community have called explicitly for my deplatforming. Here are some examples.
Simply one of the workspace people. So true.
Needless to say, many members of Riley's community were not comfortable with involving Destiny in a situation that they had already protested to. When the potentiality of a Destiny appearance was made public, the admin and moderation teams largely threatened to resign.
Yep.
They correctly feared an unmanageable influx of external potentially abusive users to the server and unfriendly eyes on the situation. Riley did not respect their concerns, and many resigned on the spot, including founding members of the server.
Wow.
Since then, a number of slanderous claims have been made against those admins. Seemingly, in the name of further disparaging me, both Riley and Destiny were willing to put the most loyal and highly invested members of the RGR community in the crosshairs of online anger and hate. In the name of correcting the record, I will now read and display a few of these public resignations, which have been provided to me by the admins themselves. In my mind, and this is just me speaking what I'm feeling since this seems to be the venue, I don't care about the conversation with Demonmama. I don't care whether you, Riley, were right or wrong in your argument, and whether you were or not is irrelevant. What I care about is your effect on the community. After you got off stream with Demonmama, you took out your justified frustrations at a conversation that turned sideways on your own community. Then, when given constructive criticism on that particular stream, you ignored everyone and did something that will cause even more harm within this community. You often say that you don't want a sycophantic relationship, that you are open to criticism, that you welcome it. All of your actions in the past 24 hours has shown the opposite. I personally do not feel comfortable modding for this community if the past 48 hours is an indication of the future of this Discord. I do care for you, Riley. I hope that you can understand I wouldn't be typing out this message or wouldn't have put in the time and effort that I have in this community if I didn't. This community is important. I think the original mission statement of solidarity and learning is an admirable one, and I hope that continues. Unfortunately, I have a performance career and an activist life to think of, and in the area that I live in, being even tangentially related to somebody like Destiny would harm my future opportunities. I want you to understand that the actions you take have an effect on us and our lives outside of just this Discord. I'm relinquishing my modhood and will be leaving the community. I hope all the friends I've made here understand and know that I cherish them. I want everyone to know that as mods of the RGR community, our primary concerns were for the community that had been cultivated through the collective love, care, and labor of the people that made up the Discord. I, personally, as a mod, left because of two reasons. One being that I have a reputation outside of that community being tangentially connected to controversial personalities which show poorly on me and my decision-making. And two, I knew that if Destiny and his community got involved, it would make the inclusive, loving, and accepting community largely inaccessible to those who needed this community. This was not a group of mods going rogue or a community turning on their content creator because of a half-baked hit. It was a community stage walkout. We, as people who were regarded and treated as Riley's friends, tried to draw boundaries, which is a completely healthy thing to do, and at every step, Riley crossed each boundary we tried to place. I personally take no joy in this. It has had effects on me emotionally, physically, and medically. None of us wanted this to happen. We have had our community hollowed out from the wonderful place it was and replaced with a DGG proxy server, and that is incredibly sad. That's what all this is. Sad. End of statement. Riley, please take down the video. Reconsider what you are doing. Riley, you have spoken extensively in the past about wanting to keep healthy relationships with those around you and not burning bridges, even when there are disagreements. What you are doing right now is not only ruining your friendship with Demonmama, it's ostracizing her community and your own. I am scared. Please listen to us. I hate to draw comparisons like this, but you have been more charitable to people such as Destiny and Calvin Gara, actors who have done demonstrable harm to people in our community. I want to make clear what my contention is here. It's not that Riley disagreed with Demonmama on the concept of gender identity, nor that she felt the need to defend her position. My problem has been with the way this whole situation has been handled since then. Riley has been hurting. I know that. She is seeking a way to express that pain and resolve her frustrations. The problem is that others are hurting too. She banned people, including a content creator, someone mere hours before she had been having a meme debate with, in a moment of anger and frustration and exhaustion. In the face of everyone saying this is a bad idea and not to do it, Riley has gone ahead and posted a video that will do nothing but cause more harm for all involved. I have more to say on this, but being on mobile is making me type slow, and it is difficult to see what I'm saying. I hate that I have to be the one to say this. I hate that I waited until after the video was posted to speak up. You need to do the right thing here, Riley. I hate to act like a parent here, but you need to take down this video. Too much damage is being done here. You need to talk to Demonmama privately, ideally, and apologize for the way things went. You don't need to say you were wrong for having ideological differences, but you do need to show that you were the person you claim to be, the one who wants to build bridges, not burn them. I know you might not notice, but the community is hurting. No one here is comfortable right now. Riley, you are burning the server to the ground in some self-centered notion to protect yourself from an enemy that is insignificant. The harm you are doing substantially outweighs any defense that you have made. Congratulations. You are losing your friends, mods, and admins over this. You are losing the core of your community. The streams that followed Riley's appearance on Destiny's show represent, without a doubt, the most spiteful, dishonest, and cruel treatment I've ever received publicly in my life. Throughout the course of Wednesday, the 17th of February, both Riley and Destiny streamed about me for most of the day. Both of them pushed blatant misrepresentations of my positions, my arguments, and my personality, in addition to openly and publicly speculating on my mental state, the validity of my transition, and the worth of my work to thousands of viewers, all while Riley's community was collapsing. Riley repeatedly insulted her own community during the stream and looked past Destiny, mocking not only her former community, but also trans rights activists in general, framing me as a representative of the most insane type of activist, leaning on stereotypes popularized by the anti-SJW movement and Gamergate. Content warning ahead for this clip.
And then you also have to keep in mind, you go to, are you in law school now?
Oh yeah, no, I'm in law school.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, I'm very busy.
I'm pretty sure, I could be totally wrong, I know you live in San Francisco, but I'm pretty sure that you know that like the level of where trans discourse is on the internet is also so far removed from like where people in the real world are too, that it's also like really crazy. Like there are people in the real world, you might casually hear people still say things like she-male in training. Like they don't think there's anything wrong with it.
That's it. I love it. Let Destiny say the T slur just like that. Wait, hold on. Did you? I didn't hear that.
Some people say tranny or she-male in real life. Should I say T slur? I don't know the word. Sorry. Oh.
Okay, yeah, no, people are saying, I mean, like, I've said it once or twice.
T-slur.
It should be noted that Riley did not provide pushback to this claim, nor the implications in the claim, much to the ire of her own community. She also did not provide pushback to Destiny downplaying his previous calls to deplatform me and his wishes for me to die.
Listen, I might have said I wanted to die, okay? Fuck Demonmama, but it has nothing to do with being trans. But we'll see what he said. Oh, fuck. I'm literally talking about internet career. I'm gonna die on the internet, but then I added like a fucking injunctive or whatever. I'm gonna die in the internet. I'm literally talking about internet career. I wasn't dying in real life. Although, you know what? Even if I did say that, I don't know if I'd say the same like fucking Nick Fuentes or whatever. Like, fuck it, dude. But like, I'm literally talking about their internet career, right? Like, I want the Twitch stream to die, I want the YouTube to die, like, but I never want a human being to die, okay? In a video game, off a video game. Or I want them to die in a video game, not in real life, okay?
Perhaps the most disgusting and personally upsetting portion of all of this was having both Destiny and Riley speculate as to whether I had thought about gender enough in order to transition.
This sounds super shitty of me to say.
Like, I think that Destiny was obviously being hyperbolic. He's a hyperbolic actor, like, always. That's what makes Destiny kind of, like, supremely watchable, is even though he does get involved, and even though he does, like, be, like, super serious, and he does, like, have arguments that, like, he's very passionate about, he's also very sarcastic, almost, like, 90% of the time, so I'm gonna take that as sarcasm. I don't think he actually wanted you to die, Demonmama, but I think it was still fucked up for him to say, especially in the way that he said it. And yeah, it sounded like a death threat, but it was just hyper.
Okay, but it's surprising that somebody wouldn't have reflected on this before making like decisions to transition. These seem like incredibly important and personal aspects of your identity. It seems strange that you would have never heavily considered your identity prior to like making a big effort to change it. I can't tell Demonmama just maybe legitimately hasn't thought about it before. It's entirely possible because we call on trans people or gay people or anybody outside the norm. We're kind of expecting them to be more reflective on their identity than like a default character in society. So that's kind of true. But it seems strange that somebody wouldn't have considered this before. That seems interesting.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what I'm getting is I can't tell if she's trying to think of like what the answer really is, or if she's trying to think of the answer she should give to win the debate. Because it seems odd to me that somebody wouldn't consider like, have I, if you're gonna be trans, like, well, have I been a man? Am I lying to myself about being a man? Like that seems like internal like.
Okay. So Destiny just questioned whether or not Demonmama is trans. Demonmama is trans. Just that's the facts. That was kind of fucked up and very fucked up, and it didn't even. And yeah, Demonmama was right. That's probably the most disgusting part about this is that he said that her gender wasn't valid because she made an argument he disagreed with. Now, even worse than that, Riley Grace Roshong says yes, and she agrees, and then and then he says, I don't know if she's just making the arguments to win the debate, because if he was trying to win the debate, she'd choose Riley Grace Roshong's debate tactic, which is to avoid fallacy in identifying as gender and trolls. You have to be able to use a kind of like a, what do you call that, like a category system for trans people in order to avoid the nonsense, in order to avoid the possible damage, in order to avoid really bad arguments. That was her, like, the Caves of the Kingdom. Oh, this is gonna happen. I can't wait to hear that fucking, oh my god. But yeah, so if she was trying to win the debate, she would just choose Riley Grace Roshong's opinion, just in she'd use her tactic of trying to make another category for transness in order to pass the fucking check test of if it's penetrable or not. Instead, Demonmama went with her own opinion, which is that trans people are trans when they say that they're trans, because that's all we can do is accept them as they are and who they are, because there's so many different versions of being trans, because she has a different opinion, she has a different experience than Riley Grace Roshong with trans people. I think because I don't think Riley Grace has had enough experiences with different types of trans people. If she feels this way because if there were a lot of Demonmagender or other kind of people that she was talking to and communicating with, then she'd either excise them and leave them and possibly talk negatively about them, but or just mistreat them while they were around. So yeah, Demonmama chose her own unique opinion to represent in that debate.
Struggle that you would have already gone through.
Throughout the day of streaming, Destiny and Riley would go on to appear on one another's shows repeatedly to accuse me of various unsubstantiated allegations, from being bad faith to being a harmful abuser who is bad for the trans community. No evidence is ever provided for these claims outside of their personal opinions. Riley also alleged that I was an immoral and irresponsible public trans person during the stream.
The reason I put up the video was to make sure that if anyone wants to know why I banned Demonmama from my community, why I have a negative opinion of her, why I think she is a morally bad person and does morally bad things, that I can be.
She banned Demonmama when she later asked Demonmama to debate her and please come on her show and please debate her, and you're a coward because you won't debate me when you ban them from your community. Oh my god, fucking thug. This person
able to point to that and say that's why, and you can draw your own opinions. You can agree with me, you can not agree with me, but you can go there and make your own determination.
Again, both streamers streamed about me for hours, and it should be noted that while Destiny asked Riley's permission to go over the video Riley posted, he never even tried to get mine. And until the video you are watching now, I have not publicly addressed the situation outside one statement on a canceled stream, the purpose of which was simply to communicate to my audience why I was canceling the stream. Riley has, without any provocation, struck out against me, my community, and her own community almost non-stop since the debate on Monday. The level of aggression, cruelty, and complete lack of basic human respect is frankly stunning. Part 3. Setting the record straight, claims and refutations. Now that I've made clear the context, history, and events of the previous week, I will take some time to address the spurious, hyperbolic, and outright dishonest claims made about me. The first of these is the claim that I am an immoral and irresponsible person for pushing a so-called bad argument for the validity of gender self-identification. Gender, identity, and consciousness are some of the most complex, nebulous, and difficult to understand concepts any human will ever grapple with, and they have been hotly disputed topics by philosophers and scientists even to this day.
Yep.
Even if you believe I did not perfectly communicate my ideas on gender, no communicator is perfect, and I agree, I did not perfectly communicate everything. I do not believe it is reasonable to conclude my messaging is irresponsible or immoral. Nonetheless, the claimed imperfection of my argument has been used since Monday as the pivotal point in justifying a campaign of hatred and disinformation about me. Tens of thousands of viewers across both Riley and Destiny's platforms have been told that I am bad for the trans community, that I am harmful, and that I am immoral. In another video, I will summarize and clarify my views on the nature of gender, but the conclusion of my argument is that it is most ethical to accept and allow gender to be a matter of self-identification. A person who claims they are a woman can, in good faith, be accepted as a woman. A person who claims they are non-binary can, in good faith, be accepted as non-binary. Other models of gender, in my opinion, lead to senseless exclusions and significant complication of social interactions in a way that can hurt trans and cis people alike. Allowing people to identify as the gender of their choice is, in my opinion, the most sensible and ethical conclusion.
Yes, it is.
For expressing this opinion, I was accused of being irresponsible with my messaging as a public trans person.
Nope.
I do not believe that this has been meaningfully substantiated, and the implication, in my opinion, is both offensive and potentially harmful. If the simple act of arguing imperfectly for a functional definition of gender is enough to be impugned for irresponsible messaging, I would argue that Riley herself does not meet her own standards for communication. The evidence of this is that her own community, as well as third parties covering this, have struggled for days to understand her argument, proving it is no more concise or clear than the one she decries me for. Here are some examples of Riley going back on her own arguments despite claiming no reasonable person could disagree with her.
I just wanted to say it instead of saying it in text because I think you're misinterpreting me. There was a point in time where you were talking about it on stream to people where you were saying, well, if you disagree with my argument, then you're not one of the reasonable people, and you ban people because of it.
Oh yeah, no, I don't.
So
Yeah,
you're the one defining reasonable in that situation.
Yeah, I think in that situation it's pretty clear. I genuinely think that if I do everything I can to be able to explain something, and if I'm able to go back, yes, in that instance, I am making a judgment call myself for what reasonable is. Yes.
Right. In the legal documentation, the reason why it works is because it's judged by 12 of your peers.
Yeah.
Or 6
well, generally, sure, that's how it works out practically, but in concept, it's supposed to be just if we were to construct a hypothetical person and then sample the entirety of a population for what that the average beliefs in that population, then the hypothetical person would represent those average beliefs.
So would you define Liz as a reasonable person?
Probably, yeah.
So Liz misunderstood your arguments in Demonmama's debate.
Okay, I don't know why. I think that in that respect she was probably I would say in that respect, I would say in that respect she was acting unreasonably. I'm not saying that she's a completely unreasonable person, but I genuinely do not know how I could have been clearer. Yeah. No, I mean and that's kind of that maps on my understanding because essentially what you described. I don't know, maybe I should just get away from this terminology. If it doesn't help me actually explain things about people, if it doesn't help me explain things to people better, then I won't use it. I mean that essentially maps on my understanding of objectivity, right? Now that's not useful for these conversations, and I won't use it. But that's kind of the way that I've explained these ideas.
Broadly, the second claim circulating at the moment is a broader claim about the irresponsible use of my platform as a trans person, with the conclusion that I should be deplatformed. I believe that this is even less substantiated than the first claim. Not only do I invest,
generally sure that's how
own arguments
on stream to people where you were saying, well, if you disagree with my argument, then you're not one of the reasonable people, and you ban people because of it.
Oh yeah, no, I don't.
So you're the one defining reasonable in that situation.
Yeah, I think in that situation, explain things to people better than I won't use it. I mean that essentially maps on my understanding of objectivity, right? Now that's not useful for these conversations, and I won't use it. But that's kind of the way that I've explained these ideas. Broadly,
second claim circulating at the moment.
Right, so her whole point is if it's not objectively useful and I can't use it to explain something to you, then what's the point of it? Let's tear it up. Alright.
Is a broader claim about the irresponsible use of my platform as a trans person, the conclusion that I should be deplatformed. I believe that this is even less substantiated than the first claim. Not only do I invest an incredible amount of time and thought to the content that I create, but I also do my best to remain accountable to my community, my peers, and my colleagues.
Yes, you do.
I may not always agree with every single criticism levied in my direction. There are countless examples of my willingness to engage in self-critique, public critique from peers, and critique from my viewers at large on my channel. However, none of this has been given any weight whatsoever or even recognized as existing by Riley or Destiny this week. Instead, it has been ignored in the name of framing me as an irrational, unaccountable, and irresponsible person. For anyone familiar with my work in the least, the claims of my irresponsibility are obviously false given how much time and effort I put into sourcing and informing my opinions. However, to the masses of Destiny's audience, who were primed by both Destiny and Riley to interpret my words with no charitability whatsoever, the substance and content of my work appears to be of no importance, especially with regard to their willingness to claim I am an irresponsible public trans person who should not have a platform to speak. Once again, I urge those who believe that I am somehow irresponsible to analyze my work critically and independently, because these claims could not be further from the truth. In addition, the idea that I should be deplatformed simply for disagreeing with Riley after she came on my show and started an argument with me, which I was not comfortable with, is simply outrageous.
Yeah, it is outrageous.
Finally, let me address the third claim, that I am a bad faith interlocutor who uses abuse tactics and manipulative language. These terms are all so vague as to be useless. Riley herself, at one point, made an entire video about how carelessly the term bad faith is tossed around. I would like to note that the core of these claims comes from Destiny, who, in his appearance on Riley's stream, accuses me of using tactics he himself admits to using on other people.
Have you ever heard the concept of crazy making?
No, I've never heard of that.
Okay, so imagine that we're having, so some people are really good at appearing calm. I think I'm really good at appearing calm. I think Demonmama is very good at appearing calm. The idea is that I needle and I poke you and I prod you and I piss you off until I've said things that are genuinely hurtful and pretty insulting, and then when you start to get emotional, I sit there and I'm like, why are you so upset? What's wrong? Why are you like this?
Destiny and Riley do not provide substantial evidence of my utilization of any such tactics. I find it very odd indeed that Destiny would attempt to prove that I was being manipulative by pointing out that he is dishonest and manipulative as a conscious tactic. This is an assumption of mine.
The only example of crazy making I can see is shouting, but I think that Demonmama was excited to call Riley Grace Roshong out, and looking at it a second time, it wasn't really that bad. So I don't really think there was a lot of crazy making in the debate.
Intentions which he cannot know. He proceeds to coach Riley on how to use these manipulative tactics on others. And we both do a little bit of interrupting here and there, a little bit of ranting here and there. We both do that. We're both a little performative in that way. But it was you who did accuse me of being...
I don't do performative shit.
Given the history I have truthfully presented in this video, I think it stretches the imagination to claim that I was engaging in any sort of bad faith with Riley. In fact, given how open and vulnerable I was willing to be with her, and how that was interrogated and disrespected, I would argue I engaged in better faith than even Riley herself. This is especially true when taken in the context of Riley's actions following our debate, which has been to ceaselessly pursue the impugning of my character and my reputation for days while I did not reciprocate whatsoever. This unplanned debate, which I obviously contested to on the spot multiple times, which followed from fun, memey debates about frivolous topics, was neither pleasant nor constructive in my view. And, since the debate happened, a simple analysis of my own actions and Riley's actions will reveal that only one of us intended to carry this issue beyond the night of the debate itself. Riley. Only one of us has monetized the fallout of this event, Riley, who on her 7-hour-plus Wednesday stream was showered in donations, comments, and thousands upon thousands of views from Destiny's community, which was openly promoting her in the chat throughout the day before using the Twitch raid feature to send 2.7 thousand Destiny chatters directly into her channel. Simply looking at the staggering difference in views between her usual videos and her maliciously edited video on me should reveal the corrupting incentives at play. Nonetheless, I am the one being accused of being bad faith. I am the one being accused of being manipulative. I am the one being accused of abusing the goodwill of the audience at large. I think the evidence here speaks loudly and clearly in my favor, despite the misleading claims of those who orchestrated this drama. In conclusion, Riley's behavior towards me this week has been inexcusably dishonest, aggressive, and inconsiderate. She has virtually torched her entire core community and ruined the trust many people in her audience once held for her. And for what? To hurt me? To curry favor from a more powerful streamer? Since Monday, I have been subjected to a cascade of spurious criticisms, hyperbolic claims backed up with no evidence, and outright transphobia as a result of Riley's actions. I have not participated. This has not been a back and forth. This has not been a squabble between communities. Instead, this has been a one-way campaign of anger, cruelty, and hatred pointed directly at me. I am tired of this meaningless, dishonest, and toxic discourse. I am tired of the grave emotional toll on our communities and mod teams. I am tired of being lied about so blatantly. I am tired of the hard work I put into my content being obscured by two other streamers' obvious spite and drama. If you have reached this conclusion and you are unsure about me or my content, I implore you to look for yourself, ideally without the unfair framing of individuals who hate me and who have openly admitted to using manipulative tactics on those that they hate. Thank you, and may this drama burn in hell.
Certainly hope the drama burns in hell. Alright, well, I think I said what I had to say about that. I had probably about 20 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe like 30 minutes of things to say about that within the 36-minute video, so hopefully that was enough content to reach out from there, but there's more things I want to say, so let's try and get everything, because I'm getting tired. Yeah. Let's see, probably the biggest one right now, biggest topic right now. Wait, before we end this topic, I think there should be a closing statement for me. Demonmama was in the right because Demonmama wasn't trying to be inflammatory and hurtful and you know, fucking obstinate, which is the obstinance of I have the keys to the kingdom. Oh my god, I love that. Oh my god, Riley Green Roshong. Oh my god, we have to look that up. The keys to the kingdom. The keys to the kingdom. It won't pop up, will it? Riley Green Roshong, wait. Pretty empathophobic. Yeah, RGR is wrong. No drama recap. Just a bunch of anti Riley Grace Roshong.
It's basically the same argument someone like Sargon of Akkad or Blair White would make.
Oh, these people.
Argue that it's, you know, Destiny-esque, right? Keeps doing this shit. That's not true. That's not how things work. But this is basically the same.
Oh my god, that was my favorite. I have the keys to the kingdom. Oh my god, that was amazing. No one's listening to me. Oh my god. Okay, I don't think we can find it, but wait, is this the keys to the kingdom?
The thing is that my experience with the vast majority of my misdemeanor arrests was, except for they went to jail, I did no harm to them.
Yeah.
You said that if the
Rarely Grace for a show. Rant. Oh man, I love that part. I love that part. Spiral reform.
Oh, cool. Either way. We can't find it, but there's this part where she goes like, I have the keys to the kingdom, and if you would just accept them, then you could defeat any argument against trans people ever, all these bad arguments, and I'd be able to get you through whatever you need to get through. Like, as if she was like fucking God. It was amazing. I've never seen someone with such a big ego like that. It was insane, I swear to God. Oh my God. Was it in this? The keys of the kingdom.
Nonetheless, despite Monday not being a drama stream, despite us almost exclusively making fun of right-wingers for hours upon hours upon hours, for 9 hours of making fun of right-wingers, I went back to Twitter to discover drama, you understand? So, I hate that. And so I gave it until today. What's going on in this video? So yeah, this 2-hour video of a completely deep study. Look at the things here. Harvard Civil Rights article, a declaration on GICE, the nature of choice, congenital adrenal hyplasia, GID and twin study, biological nature evidence review, endocrine considerations, and RGR's response, intellectual posturing and zero substance. Yeah, okay guys, can we see what's going on here? Can we see what the fuck is going on here? Yeah, what this is fucking sad coke. This is sad fucking coke. Bitch, bro. Let's continue though. Let's go. We're committed here. We're going all the way in. The person who made this video is more than welcome to come on stream and actually defend it. Debate me, bro. Debate me, bro. I'll definitely be responding to the arguments in this vid, either in my next video essay or going over this on stream or both. But anyone who likes this vid has brain rot. Notice how she calls. Notice the language that RGR uses. Remember, this is the stick. I think what you meant to say was scream loudly and carry a large log in your fucking adult diaper, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, we got of gender. You'll never find it. We invented gender. We social beings invented gender. There is no essential trait you're looking for.
There you go. There you go. That's the perfect way to end. Demonmama can end it. Demonmama was right. Relegation Roshong was wrong. That's my opinion. Let's move on. Alright, now. Let's talk about some bullshit. Wait, we have to switch the Twitch topic. So I'm going to do that real quick while I put it on to just my face. Alright. Bro, I severely hope this microphone is the same microphone. Good luck, Hot Stuff. Thank you. Just getting away with it. Yeah, right. Alright, cool. Now, that was me, and I'm reading my shit out loud, and that's, like, really annoying for people, so. Alright, anyways. Hot Stuff. God, I look like a fucking freak right now, but it's okay, because we're gonna change the fucking stream stuff. Let's go ahead. It's been 1 hour and 45 minutes, almost 2 hours of streaming. I feel good. Alright, we have 6 viewers too. Hi everyone. Hello. Alright, I am now changing the Twitch title and all that kind of stuff. And maybe I'll make another tweet. I don't know. Either way. Let's go. That was a blast though, guys. Wow. I can't believe we talked about Riley for that long. I can't believe we talked about Demonmama for that long. That was fucking awesome. Right. And that, like, got everything out of my system, pretty much. That was nice. Alright, Bing? Let's see. So, we gotta... Thank you for cheering so much! A natural 20, by the way. Thank you! Thank you! Alright, now, if I go to... By the way, you should watch Demon just because I don't know, I love her. Okay. Video games are bad sometimes. What is it? World. Whoa. Lol. What's it called? War. I don't know. Whoa, lol. What else? Oh, Dark Souls. Dark Souls. This is gonna be so good. Alright, cool.
Where did my lips go? Either way, they're back. Okay, let's look up a good video game. We're gonna start off positive, okay? We're gonna start off positive. We're gonna find a good video game. And all I have to do is type in one name, a good video game, instantly. Whichever one pops up first. You know, which one has the lowest views? Okay. Oh wait, I mean, I want to do the one with the lowest views. I didn't think this would be that hard. The problem is, like, okay, we'll just use the first one. Sorry, everyone. I'm gonna go, like, traditional, and we're gonna keep it on mute. Alright. So this... Wait, let's see. Unless it, like, skips along too much. Is it double? It is double right now. Okay. Cool. So, a good video game. What is an example of a good video game? In my opinion, this is a good video game. Was Super Mario 3D World. This is not my favorite Mario game. It's a good video game. Here's why. Okay, really flashy, really poppy, made by a huge studio, given. There is lots of freedom of exploration. You can kind of go wherever you want. You can jump off edges. You can take pictures for no reason. Why? You have options to change your sort of weaponry so that you can use single use. Now this is something I don't like about Mario. There's single use power-ups where it's just one action that happens with a different object that you throw, use, or are. And it's one action mostly. It's not a lot of things that change. It's one thing that changes. And I would argue that even if all the Mario power-ups were the same power-ups from the beginning of the very first Mario Brothers ever, which is like what, the Fire Flower and fucking whatever else it is, even if it was just the Fire Flower, expanding on solely just the Fire Flower would be amazing. And expanding on that movement and interaction and abilities and you know, what it means to be Fire Flower Mario would be way more interesting to me than having this one Mario that can go up and down. That's a lot less interesting to me, because there's a Mario that can, in this game, I think it's this game, or no, this is Mario 3 World, this other game, whatever, Mario World, Mario Odyssey, so he can, like, extend up and down, and that's all he does, and, like, that's the difference. That's a bad part of the game. That's not really adding too much to the game, but it's simple. It's simple for children, so the children can understand it. Anyone can play. One thing changes about the aspect of your character. You keep playing the game the same way you play the game from the beginning. But the point about this game being good, that is just intuitive, you know, to allow people to be able to freely play their game and be a casual gamer. But the point is freedom of movement. You get to jump, you get to move, you get to go where you want to within this level. It's not like this similar to old Mario, because old Mario was 2D, but you couldn't go back, I'm pretty sure. Or, I don't know, like, majority of the time going back was made impossible. Now it's made possible, and I feel like that makes it a good game. That you can move where you want to, jump, and like being able to lift off of the ground. For some reason, in my mind, in a video game, if it doesn't have that as an active ability to go vertically, I think it's vertically, either way, straight up, instead of like, what is it? Oh man, what is that one game called? Uncharted, where he has this like little, and that's his jump, unless you come to certain like context sensitive, hey, there's Conquer for you, context sensitive locations where jumping means climbing and jumping all around and jumping really far and like having an actual ability to use that button. Otherwise it's just kind of for show. It's just something that you can press but not something you really need to press. Might as well have it be the right trigger that you hold while you interact with anything, and they do all the cool stuff for you, more or less. You know, the whole Assassin's Creed shit. But in Mario, it's all up to you where you want to move and how you want to move, and your jumps are kind of, they're very controllable. But that's the whole point of Mario. It's a platformer, okay? That's what makes it a good platformer. No, this is where we're starting, and there's a reason we're starting here. Because we are now going to Dark Souls. Dark Souls 1 playthrough. Oh fuck, remastered. I don't give a shit if it's remastered or not. Oh, there's so many things that make this a bad game. I can't even begin. Okay. Cinematics, I'm pretty sure you can skip, but that are long and extended and express things that you cannot do in the video game are, in my opinion, kind of obsolete and annoying, because it's never going to happen to where you're going to be laying down in that position again and you're going to get up and do something like that. Like, it can be much faster. It could have been over by now. I'm still talking. There's a character laying. This is like the third angle of them laying. They're still laying. They're slightly moving. Slightest movement. God, this is boring. When will the game begin? Okay, I stopped caring. Just want to see gameplay. Cool. So movement in Dark Souls is very focused on. Do I have a problem? Yes, I do have a problem. I already have a problem. Opening a door, and it's fucking tedious and annoying. You have to let the character do that, and then you have to wait a couple seconds, and then you can move. Look, still waiting. Wait. Pressed open door is not moving, is not moving, is not moving, is moving. Instead of going up to a door that opens on its own, or going to a door and pressing the button, you have to wait for the action. Now, this is a part of Dark Souls design, waiting for each action, because you're supposed to decide when to do each action in order to beat each obstacle, whether that's enemies or terrain. However, this becomes really tedious when you have to wait for your character to act in order to get along with the decisions that you want to make. The reason that faster-paced gaming and other types of gaming is more popular is because it's more intuitive. It doesn't make sense when I want to swing a sword and I take all this time in real life to actually physically swing the sword, and for me to be like, and I want to jump and I want to do this, I want to do that, because it's not real life. And this isn't an example of real life, because there's plenty of things wrong with it, but it gets even worse. But that was the whole point. That was the whole supposed feeling, is the heaviness, is the weight behind everything. That's sort of Dark Souls' whole shtick, but it gets worse the more you play it like this, because it turns into a slog, and it watch. Well, so this is movement. Am I mad with this movement? I'm not really happy with it, but I can live with it, you know. You're supposed to be heavy. So, you know, he's running and it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, kind of slow. You know, I have a lot of problem with a lot of games movements, by the way, but, you know, it is what it is. I chose the fucking one with just the club, and, you know, I don't have any problem with this ladder climbing or that animation, but there's a lot I do have problems with, which we're going to talk about in a second. Right. Bonfire lit. Way long for no reason. The heaviness. See, it's all about the heaviness. It takes forever to open this fucking door because it's heavy. Oh, there's a jump for you. That's what a jump looks like. What the fuck was that? So you have to be in full sprint to get this kind of jump in the first place. And what did he jump over? This invisible line where it comes up to his knees. If I could only jump up to my knees. I couldn't even get on the bed. I couldn't even jump on a bed. Man. See, and that's supposed to be heaviness. He's in armor, but, you know, thrown more forward than upward, and I don't know, it's just kind of annoying to kind of have this, like, movement that you suddenly make where now you are carrying forward and now you have to stop. Like, that isn't, like, how jumping is supposed to feel. Jumping is supposed to feel like moving, like, even if you can't control the jump in the midair, as long as you can jump when you want to, you can't just stand still in Dark Souls and jump. like that to reach anything or to do anything, because the Dark Souls world isn't designed for platforming gameplay. It's designed for combat gameplay. But still, this forced movement of rolling forward, jumping forward, whatever it is that you want to call it, is it can end a fight. It can end a journey, because there have been times when I have tried to jump out of the way to get out of the way of something. It just wasn't out of the way enough, and I die in one hit from this other really big character who hits me while I'm rolling, doing this, that. It doesn't feel useful. Jumping doesn't feel useful. It feels annoying and tedious. And the tedium of having 2 checkpoints for next to no reason next to each other that take for a while. Like, you could have just had auto checkpoints, but you have to interact with these checkpoints in order for them to, it could have just been designed, but designed into the game. But there's a reason for that whole, because of the grinding. Oh my god, the grinding, which we have to talk about. Okay, go. Here we go, our first fight. Okay. Is it realistic when an enemy aim at a place you used to be a second ago, wait a second, and then shoot? Or would they aim at you? They would aim at you, okay? That doesn't make these enemies feel like they're actually, like, human. Because if I'm pulling a bow, and the whole point is weight and realism, the bow fucking wins unless you pull up the fucking shield, because, you can turn. It's really easy to do that. It's really easy to turn. So if we're going for realism, fail on Dark Souls' part, there's no reason why enemies have to be this dumb, and the reason that they're this dumb is because the mechanics in fighting are bad. Now, here we go. Oh, did you see that? Watch this. Running, has to run forward, turns a bit, turns, now has to wait. Like, you had to lock on to that character in order to turn that way, because trying to turn in Dark Souls normally is like this. And trying to turn in Mario is like that. Like, it's easy to maneuver. Here it's difficult to maneuver, and because it's difficult to maneuver, the enemies have to be bullshit. Like, that is just a game designed poorly, and I'm going to go into this more and more the more we see. This is just one enemy and one battle. Watch this. Hit an enemy, hit him twice. How did that feel to me? Let's see. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Having to lock on. Swing, swing. It's decently fast, and the enemy has a slow, oh, I'm dying. Like, animation rather than just auto ragdoll. I think it dies first and then it ragdolls, or it just disappears. But, it's very dramatic about everything. It has to be dramatic about everything. The whole point of Dark Souls is to be dramatic and heavy. And that comes into fucking... It makes the game more tedious than it has to be when it comes to fucking swaths of enemies. This battle itself looked really dumb and janky. It didn't really look smooth. It looked kind of dumb. And the only part that looked good was the striking and the death animation. The otherwise, the beginning of the battle, from the beginning where the enemy can't even aim, where the enemy doesn't even interact, where the enemy takes 2 swings and doesn't interact, that just looks like, it doesn't even look like a battle, it looks like a training dummy that doesn't have any kind of purpose there. Which you could argue it is, but these training dummies last for a very long time throughout the game and are still in the game. And the only time when these enemies become actually dangerous is when they're at such a far distance that you can't see them, or that there are so many of them that you can't dodge them. That doesn't make them good enemies. That makes them placeholders for enemies, because they're not actual enemies, because an actual enemy require a battle rather than, like, I don't know. Mario has some of this too, which I also disagree with, like piranha plants. Like, piranha plants only at a distance will they shoot or fire, and then when you come up to them, there's no battle, there's no interaction. It's just they're gone. But that was more unique, because this is supposed to be, these are archers, these are bow archers. They're not like hitting with their bows. They're not like trying to strangle you. They're not like trying their best to fight you. They just shoot, and if you're in the wrong place, they don't aim that way. So it's not really interesting. You know, Mario's was more interesting for the 2D. The enemy that you normally jump on top of, you can't jump on top of anymore, because in the first place, if you jump on top of them, they hurt you. But secondly, they'll hide if you get near them. So I just think that was a better decision than these really poorly designed archers. God, I wish we could go into my gameplay, but all my gameplay is in the fucking San Francisco. Oh, there comes a obstacle, a physical obstacle with the rock there. And here we come, slow talk. Finally going up the stairs. And there you go! Exactly what I'm talking about. Trying to go forward. Boosts forward with a jump. Somehow he's very high right now, but he's not actually high IRL, because if he was that high, yeah, pretty much. Stairs make it appear that you can jump higher than you actually can, because when you're walking without stairs, upwards, you're fucking, you don't jump that high. So here's the roll animation. How useful is it? Ta-da! It is negatively impactful for the gameplay. It isn't realistic that someone would go and roll and go forward. Maybe if you press a button that has a dodge, or that you need to use a specific dodge that you're locked on or something, that you jump, you do that, which like Link does. He does a backflip, but it's actually like effective. You get out of the way, or you get into the way, and you move quickly. Because Dark Souls is so focused on moving slowly and lumberly fucking, what do you call it? Like realistically, they make the character roll no matter what, because sometimes it looks cool to roll, but that roll takes up so much time that you sacrifice life, and sometimes you sacrifice your entire life for that jump. This time it was easy because it was just one character. And that's your enemy. Hoo-ah. Wow, that was like that's much more interesting than a Goomba who like runs straight after you and jumps headfirst at you. Like, you know, I don't know. I like, these are supposed to be like dead characters, like characters who haven't been alive for a long time, so they have no souls. So kind of like zombies. You know, zombies are slow. So this is supposed to be a slow character. However, it's very unimpressive when you begin with these characters and you end with basically what ends up to be kind of womps. You know, those things that, wow, you know, those, this game is full of womps, and they're all big, and all they do is womp, or they slice. And that's about the two options for them to attack you. And sometimes they have unique moves, but more or less, it's just a bunch of falling bricks. Like, that's what the big guys are, and the little guys are. Not even Goopas, not even Koopas. Like, they don't come at you to attack you really in one-on-one. Only in big groups are they ever threatening. Only in big groups are they ever important to like actually pay attention to, unless you want souls, which you need for, oh my god, the game gets worse. But however, you could also say that in Mario there's a lot of times when they just duplicate enemies, and you know, you have to go attack each one, and that's the only time when they're that threatening. Now, while I would agree that, you know, Mario just used this, at the same time, Mario is very intuitive, and it's constantly moving forward, whereas this game is not intuitive, and it's constantly moving slowly forward. So you have to, one by one, kill each of these characters in order to progress through the game in these slow, monotonous fights in which the characters don't look like they even know how to fight. It's annoying. There goes the death animation. Good pulling animation, honestly. Here we go. When is an archer useful? When other characters get in the way? What is that? That is just like, so characters stop you from moving, but you can still move. Like, you can still walk. God, does it look cheesy. I mean, I guess it was just kind of like a way to look like, breeze through to get to the rest of the game design that they have to do. But, oh man, does that look awful. Like, does that look awful? Maybe it's something they couldn't have avoided. I mean, I would have made the character stop or interact with something they run into, but, you know, especially in this game, that would make lots of sense if you interact with something you run into. However, they want you to be able to get out of situations that you actually accidentally get stuck in because you move like that. You know, so it's just the game designed to keep the rest of their slow movement. They have to sacrifice realism here. And rolling, you can roll into them rather than actually interacting with the character, like pushing them aside, like fucking, what is that called? Resident Evil. This is a Resident Evil game where you can interact with the zombies that you come around, and you can press a button to push them or move them or roll around them or roll through them, and it was more context, like it was more interactive, and it was fucking 20 years ago. And this game is like, or 10 years ago, and this game is like refusing any interaction with character at all to try and get past and get forward with game design. And you can roll into nothingness, basically. You can roll into a wall, and you just roll there. And you sacrifice, again, more health for jumping. Another thing about Dark Souls is you can hit the walls. You can actually hit the walls around you. It's like, it's sensitive to that. Like, at least there's, there's some interaction there, and the enemies, too, I think, can hit walls. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. Maybe enemies do fall through. Let's see if they hit the wall here. I can't tell. But, yeah. The impacts are pretty good. There's the... that I hate about Dark Souls because it's always fucking slow, so you have to do these assassinations, which are even fucking slower, which puts you out in the open to be even more vulnerable, which makes this game even less fucking fun. Oh, we got another kind of fight. Here we go. Now this is a tough fight. Okay, trying to do the wrong action and gets hit because there's no timing that you're supposed to have with that fucking, what is it called? Parry, because the game is designed in such a way that every movement is slow, however that movement is fast, so that it's not too useful if you want to counter a move, because moves can be slow and then instantly interact, or like quick, and you can't really dodge them because they're already pre-prepared, but then they have to recharge up to do another move, but the whole time, even if you're doing this the whole time, nothing's going to happen. You're never going to get that parry, which makes it kind of a bad option in the game if it doesn't fucking work. But, he's doing it now. He did it. And he gets to kill him in one hit. And that's okay. That's pretty okay. That was an okay fight in the end, but the whole parry thing in games is on and on been an issue in games. Like, whether it works or whenever it works, it just kind of slows down gameplay for most people. Now, come on. Oh, there we go. Here's the womp. Let's jump down into it, and damn. That was pretty cool. That was cool. That's a big enemy. Being slow with this enemy and having a good first hit is great. Hitting the enemy and having it react not at all is fucking annoying. Having the enemy be a fucking womp is fucking annoying. Feeling like you're just hitting another object in a set is annoying. This isn't fun. This isn't fun to me. This is what's not fun about most RPGs, is because you're hitting these enemies over and over again. They don't react. They get to hit you. They get away with hitting you. You think you get away with hitting them. You do take their life, but at the same time, oh, fuck. You don't feel like you're making any difference, because you're just you might as well be swinging at the wall, because when you swing at the wall stays where it's at and doesn't react to when you hit it. And then you hit an enemy and you follow through this time instead of reacting with the wall. You follow through and there's no reaction. There's no interaction, which is why Bloodborne is so much better in that way. But there's more that's bad about this game. Okay. You get killed, I guess. You have to come back. Or you got picked up by a bird and dropped off, I don't know. Dark Souls Remastered. There we go. This is why the game becomes even worse. Okay. Let's do it. I'm just using what comes to mind, okay? If it's not Mario, it's another game that's actually worse, but actually let's just go. Let's keep going with. Let's do this. Mario 64. Love this game. Full walkthrough. Okay. Oh, geez. HD. There you go. That's a pause menu. It's not complex. It's obvious. It has to do everything with what you're doing in the game, and you don't have to go through these long, exaggerated menus in order to get the game that you want to interact with to work so that you can interact with while you're spending all this time fucking being a goddamn scientist and putting fucking fire effect with ice effect. Like, there's no reason to have that fucking annoying, over-exaggerated fucking menu when you can just have a pause menu. Now, this isn't the pause menu that I remembered from Mario 64. However, it is a pause menu. It's not the best, but it's still, intuitive. You can pause the game stops, and you get to see some options to interact with. Now, let's see. Here we go. Banjo. Okay, A-Z. Pause. Oh, it's just the music. Freeze easy peak. Banjo-Kazooie. Let's just go play through. There has to be a point where they pause it. No commentary. Donko, no commentary. Did we pass it already? Did they never pause? There you go. Here is a really good pause menu, an example of options in order to interact with the game. View totals is like expressly Banjo-Kazooie because you have to work on collecting things. However, that is also a thing in Dark Souls where you don't have to view totals. It's just the totals are shown within the screen itself, within all the menus. Help and options, most important, available option to have in a menu. Leaderboards and achievements are something unique to Banjo-Kazooie Xbox, and then exiting the game, also very important. This, and this needed. Everything else has to be unique to the game and interactive to the point to where you're not like bored having to interact with it. Now, that is Dark Souls pause screen. Or this is Dark Souls actually inventory screen, because of course it has an inventory, because of course it has to be over complex. But overly complex, because you have to be able to pick up another sword, which looks like the sword you already picked up, because it's a better sword, but you can only carry that sword so long as you have enough strength, and you can only use that sword to hurt people so long as you have enough damage in swords. It is ridiculous. You don't have to spend all this time trying to make the game work in order to defeat this boss or pass these enemies. All you gotta do is press B to fucking kill them, or all you gotta do is interact with the battle to kill them and fight them and use skill rather than grinding, which is annoying and not fun. And I'm going to make this point throughout the stream again and again, I swear to God. Now, here's the menu for the inventory. You can assign things in order for you to put them onto a hotkey so that you can use them whenever you need them. Estus Flask is health, which is annoying to use and dumb, and you have to take time in order to use it, and it's supposed to be dangerous to use health because game wants it to be so difficult and annoying to play that the majority of players just shy away from it because it is just fucking tedious and ridiculous. Let's see, then you have all of your fucking gear, as if it wasn't enough that you have to switch weapons. You also have to switch gear, and the gear that you have, whatever the fuck it looks like, has to be better than the other gear that you've had before. So you have to abandon, and you have to switch, and eventually you'll be in this menu fucking 1,000 times over because you have to keep changing the weapon, repairing the sword, putting more Estus flask in. I don't know how much you have to do that, but or changing your armor in a different way, or repairing your armor in a different way, or going through any of the other menus which are also available. Oh, there we go. This says inventory, see an item to examine. Okay, this is apparently also in the inventory. As if Banjo-Kazooie was bad enough with collecting. Here's all the collectibles you can have. You can have Soul of a Lost Undead, Humanity, Black Separation Crystal. I don't give a fuck about any of this shit. Fuck it. I don't need it in my game, okay? I want to play my game. I don't want to collect soul after soul about this specific fucking thing. I don't want to have to have a lost soul of the undead to require souls. I don't want to have humanity in order to have a higher leaderboard. I want to be able to have fucking my gear that I have and progress through the game without having to grind the whole time in order to properly play the game. You have to properly play the game, you have to take twice as long to play the game. What's the fucking point? Oh my god. And there you go, interacting with a soul, slow interaction, and something happens. Here's that's a dark sign, I think. Oh my god, leveling up. Leveling up menu. Okay. Your level matters, because it's how much you can interact with on your page, because if you're not level 7, you can't interact with the majority of this stuff. The souls are points. The wreck souls, I don't know, I'm not quite sure what that means, but why are there 2 souls? Why is one 775 and why is one 261? Why do we have to have these huge numbers about things that we don't really need huge numbers about? Because now I'm fucking confused and I can't do math. But either way, then vitality, pretty sure that's health. Attunement, I don't give a fuck. I don't know what the fuck that means. Probably magic. I'm imagining magic. Endurance, that is the amount of time that you can move. You can actually change the amount of time you can move so that you can make movement better, or you could fucking die to every... And you could die to every character that you interact with, or you could upgrade strength and win to every character but move like a slug. And then, see, sacrificing one thing for another could make sense if it felt good to do, but it doesn't feel good to get all these souls from fucking cheating in the fucking game like I fucking did when I played this game. I cheated with the dragon to have to make it blow fire over and over again. Here, we can even watch it. I'm pretty sure we can watch it. Let's watch it. Don't worry, we'll release this video at some point, but we played Dark Souls. Oh, yes, we did. Now we're gonna go to Bink. Where's clips? Where's the clips? Where are the clips? How do I find clips? Oh! Isn't there a way to do it here? No. 3 people are watching. Where are the clips? What if I click here? Oh, videos. There we go. Xenogenders, Xenogenders highlights. Recently. All videos. What? Doom? What? Clips. Here we go. Which one's fucking Dark Souls? More Dark Souls. Fuck me. Oh god, we gotta play fucking all those games again when I get my fucking tower back. But I can't play all these high quality games. Here's me playing fucking Dark Souls and trying to have fun with it, and there's the jump being detrimental again, and there's a bunch of enemies who are not good at fighting, but annoying to fight in a bunch. Oh god. Come on, I want another clip. There's another one where I use Dark Souls. Oh my god, that's the best game ever. Resident Evil. I miss my guy who made these clips. My boy. Spectre. Miss him. Someone misses her, Spectre. Let's see. Okay. This is him. Going all the way up. Tedious. Get the dragon to burn those characters. Go all the way back down. And do that for how many hours? I think I did it for 5 hours and the game still wouldn't interact properly. Listen. You can make... Okay. Before we go into that. Resistance is different than vitality, which is health. Resistance has to do with your resistance to magic, I think. Magic damage versus physical damage. Or resistance itself is being able to receive less damage, while vitality is having more health. So instead of making health more useful, it's more useless, because resistance makes it so that you lose less health in the first place. So just kind of decide what you want. Do you want a longer bar, or do you want a bar that goes down slower? And neither of those will get you through. The majority of the characters you will be fighting, you will die if you're a casual player. You will die if you're an avid gamer playing this game, to the point to where you lose souls and you lose your ability to progress forward, so that you have to grind more, so that you have to put 20 hours into a game you only needed to put 3 into in order to get to the next part that you're trying to get to. The game becomes tedious and ridiculous and not fun. Now, intelligence, why in Dark Souls? Why would you have intelligence in Dark Souls? Why? Faith? Fuck you. And then, okay, this other shit. Here we go. Lightning defense. Flame defense. Magic defense. Versus thrusts. Versus slashes. Versus strikes. Physical defense. Why? Why are we taking all this time to have specific numbers to change where certain actions are made, when you could just do an upgrade, physical defense, or just defense in general, or just vitality in general, because I want to get on with the game and play the game. Instead, I'm on this menu fucking figuring out which way to take the numbers, and if I do it on my own, I'm gonna lose, because I don't know the exact amount of enemies I'm gonna face and which exact ones use fucking thrust, slash, or strike. I'm just gonna be going in hoping that I chose the right shit, already spending all that shit, dying to them, losing all my points, and then unable to improve more so the actual enemies that I'm fighting. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's just ridiculous. These kind of menus are ridiculous. They take forever. They are fucking confusing, and they don't actually change the game that much. They change a small, single aspect. Only when the character thrusts at you will this change anything about the game. Otherwise, the game is the exact same. Nothing changes. If you died to the womp that womps you, fuck you, because it doesn't matter. Let's see. Then you can improve your weapon in your left hand, or your weapon in your left hand that's 1, what? Right hand? That's 1 and 2. Why? I'll say, then curse resist, poison resist, bleed resist, poise, item discovery. Why? I want to play game. I don't want to play fucking goddamn file organizing. Like, I don't understand this. I don't understand this in a game. These game decisions don't make sense, and I'm frustrated. Alright, Dark Souls has a lot to offer. It can be fun, but it is, fucking, what do you call this? Fucking, there's a name for it, but it's basically like, it's flawed. It's heavily flawed, and to the point where it's not reachable in order to play as a normal person. You can't, if you're like, I want to play a game, and then someone just shows you all these fucking menus and how long they've spent in these menus and which ways you have to interact with these menus in order to progress, you're gonna be like, fuck this game. Fuck it. I don't even want to play it. This is why Dark Souls is flawed. Lots of reasons. There's lots of reasons. I mentioned plenty of reasons, but I'm probably going to mention plenty of more in the future. The only reason I'm stopping is because fucking 6:25. I need to sleep at some point, and I want to get on to these other games. So, Dark Souls, flawed, fun, but flawed. Very flawed. Okay. God damn it. Now, what else were we talking about? What else is the stream call? So here, let's do this. Well, Dark Souls equals GOAT. Well, I'm glad you love Dark Souls because it's the fucking Get Good game. That's probably why you like it, because it's the Get Good game. Let's see. Think. What else do we put? We did put League of Legends, which is the reason I don't want to talk about League of Legends, but yeah, Sekiro is the best, is the best game in that is made within this kind of Dark Souls series, and Bloodborne is pretty good. Bloodborne ain't that bad, but you know, it's no Sekiro. Because Sekiro has not only a vertical jump, like you can just jump straight up, but you can climb on things, you can climb up walls, you can latch onto things and fly up to tops of buildings and jump into water and swim into water and swim into water. Like, so many improvements have been made for this game style to be actually playable and fun and interactive and freeing, rather than restrictive and unfun and fucking tedious. You know, a lot of decisions were made in Sekiro that I would have never thought could have ever been made by this company to make these kind of changes, but I'm glad they made them. But everyone was arguing with me that Dark Souls was so great and awesome, and I was like, I just wasn't having it. So that's why we had this sort of conversation. Now, I clicked the wrong button. Guess I clicked the wrong button. Okay. Let's go to here. There's another game I want to talk about, and it was called fucking World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft. Fuck this game. Fuck World of Warcraft. Fuck World of Warcraft. Oh my god. Cool. Just go. Not 2021. The one I was playing. This one I was playing? I don't know, I played this year, so it's just really high quality graphics that I'm not used to. Okay, cool. So World of Warcraft has kind of bad movement, very clearly. You're like, it doesn't matter which character you choose, the movement's weird. You hit an enemy and it doesn't react at all, and it reacts wrong, and you have this whole fight and it feels like you fought nothing. And it's just, the world is so big, you have to go around in it no matter what, and you have to fly on these dragons or whatever the fuck else to get across from place to place, or just fucking teleport and skip that whole process, which is like way more useful and still takes fucking time in the first place in order to get from one place to the other to just teleport. But actually traversing across this fucking world is a fucking slog, and it's annoying. It's not fun, it's annoying. I don't give a fuck about all these fucking hills and grass. It's a video game. I don't actually get to interact with it right now. Like, instead, I just have a bunch of goats and fucking, what is that porcupines in this. Like, why would I care? Like, I have to level up, I have to grind, so I must be here. But why should I care? Why should I, as a player, be engaged with these just big landscapes of fucking deserts and hills? Like, there's actually no reason. Most people get bored, and most people stop playing World of Warcraft. It was fucking boring. Let's see. So then there's a bunch of menus, there's a bunch of collectibles, there's a bunch of editing. I blame World of Warcraft for a lot of Dark Souls game design. You know, the game design of World of Warcraft have a lot of flaws that Dark Souls picked up off of. You know, like bad movement, bad menus, lots of boring traversal. You know, Dark Souls doesn't have nearly or barely as much bad traversal as... Oh, what the fuck? Great. Here comes the fucking... I'm using magic to, interact with things. Where your character can fly across the fucking sky randomly when someone presses a button and you have to go traverse more to get back to them, or press another button yourself to zoom back to them, in order to make a really quirky, annoying fight. That isn't fun. It's just not fun. This game isn't fun to me. A lot of people have fun with this game. Imagine playing this game for fucking 5 years, and there's still more for you to do without you fucking changing the gameplay that much, or changing the game that much, to the point to where it just feels like you should have stopped playing the first month. Like, I don't know, like, if you enjoy this, like, I don't blame you. Lots of people enjoy this, but the majority of gamers can't get into it because it's just so fucking full of itself. It's up its own asshole. Like, you have to play this game for years in order to get to the point where you can fight people who have played this game for years so that you can lose to them, basically. Like, there's no actual one-upping in this game. So you're just up and up and up infinitely. So, it's just like a cookie clicker to me. Like, that's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. God damn. Every fight's the fucking same. You feel like you're fighting nothing. Unless a fucking boss. And especially if you're a low tier, low character level, and all of your friends are high character levels, I've had the funniest interaction with some of my friends who play World of Warcraft who killed every enemy I ever saw, and I wasn't able to interact with any enemies because they would kill them before I could touch them. And even if I did touch them, I wouldn't change their health bar. So, something's fucked up about low players playing with high players, but basically World of Warcraft is fucking boring, bruh. We could get back into this, but I don't think it's that interesting, honestly. Last game is fucking League of Legends. World of Warcraft boring. Very boring. League of Legends first impressions, is it worth playing? Oh wait, do I have a chat box up? Do I have a chat box? I don't think I have a chat box. Wait, here, let me make a chat box. Fuck me. Alert box. Isn't there a way to add the chat box? Chat highlight? Chat box, there it is. Cool. And we'll put that boop right there. Say something, someone. Say something! Okay, fine. Don't say something. I did get a fucking tip, or like a semi-tip thing. Legends Gameplay Pro. Here we go.
Alongside
this
a strong
pairing, a different game in comparison to the last two games because this game functions really well. However, it does have issues. So it's so well. It's one of the top games in the entire world.
It is a champion that really can withstand the onslaught.
There you go.
Really fun series here.
So movement's not the best, but the whole point of movement is to use it super tactically. However, for a new player or a player who wants to get good at the game, movement's tedious and annoying and dragging. It feels like you're dragging across the board. However, the slowness of the movement is kind of helpful for certain trajectory or like other kind of moves that need specific planning in order to use, like trap moves and other kinds of moves. So in this game, it goes in its favor really well because PvP players all have the same kind of slowness in the movement in which they have to use specific abilities that are aimed precisely. So moving slowly gives you a lot of time to aim, and that is needed. And my biggest problem is all these menus, is all this tough to understand or work kind of game style where you have to put these like little watchers on the sides of the map and stuff in order to make sure that you have your bases covered, and at the same time you have to choose different healths and different abilities and different lightning resist, magic resist, and all this kind of stuff. But however this game does it well, if you get it done and you get it good, not only could you be a professional player that makes millions of dollars, you can have a lot of fun with your friends playing with this game once you have the synergy and understanding of how to play this game, because you get unique experiences with your friends all the time, not just with yourself, and you don't have to slog through everything. A lot of movements are way faster than Dark Souls, and this game is optimized highly in order to be the most professional game there ever has been. So while I do have gripes about this game, it's a really good one. The problem is its learning curve, because if you want to learn this game, you'll have to spend about a year in order to get to the point where you can say, I can play Dark Souls and I'll probably... I can play League of Legends and I'll probably beat you. Otherwise, you're going to be like, I can play League of Legends, but I don't know how to fucking work it well. Like, I can play it, like, it's possible, but I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I need help. I need someone to train me, to the point where League of Legends becomes a gateway game where you need to start interacting with other people online in order to play it, because you need to be taught to play it to force you to interact with other people online. But yeah, it's a cool game. Lots about it is awesome. Lots about it is complex and difficult, but nothing about it makes it unplayable, and nothing about it makes it like very flawed. This game is flawed sometimes, like with characters who are overpowered, or it's flawed sometimes with team members that work together too well, just so well that they must be paired with each other, or like costumes or items or cosmetics being so like sought after that to not have it is like to be seen as like not a true player of the game, or not truly interested in the game. Those are flaws within the game. However, and also the learning curve, which you're mocked for not being able to learn the first, second, or third time someone explains this game to you. But you know, it still works really well, and it's a good game. It's fucking popular and famous. And yeah, that was just some things I kind of wanted to say about it. It's very hard to understand the menus, and upgrading yourself is kind of annoying and tedious. However, once you get it done right, it can be fucking a blast. And it can be fucking difficult and stressful and annoying. I've seen a lot of people get annoyed with League of Legends as well. God damn it. Fuck me. We talked about games for a while. Now, is there anything else I wanted to bring up before I fucking get off my feet, because my feet are hurting me? Like, I've been standing so long that my feet are hurting me. Just getting calls from friends. Okay, I think we're gonna end this at around 7:30ish. So I've got a lot more standing to do. Let's see, what was on my mind recently that I wanted to, if I can go to here. Let's go. Bink. Let's go to... Oh wait, if I go to my... here... There's something I wanted to say. Which I haven't been able to... Alright, well, either way, let's go to, what is it? Okay. Let's go... Oh, one second. Oh. Hello. Okay. Back. So I'm trying to edit. Why? Okay. Video games are bad sometimes. Now, let's go. And murders. Cool. Chatting English done. Cool. Cool. Let's do this. Make this the final stretch. The very final stretch. Cool. Now. Bink Bonk. Let's talk about the one that's really hot right now on YouTube. The C word, or wait, is it like that? This is the C word, or is that the C word? Either way. Pen, pineapple, apple pen. The C word is offensive, sure. Maybe even as a slur. However, is not as detrimental to have been used to against someone as the N-word, obviously, because I mean, it's already been said plenty, but the whole point is that black people and other kinds of minorities have been used to make them feel intrinsically bad about themselves, with slurs, either for having been slaves, like the N-word, or for having been poor, like other kinds of slurs, or for having been born in a different country, or for having been in a descendant of an immigrant. These are not only offensive and hurtful and unhelpful, these are slurs that can, push someone further away from interacting with other people, particularly white people, who are the main priority, the primary ones to use slurs because they're so was it concretely ingrained in the society that they feel safe that whether they're acting like a bad actor or a good actor, they're going to get away with what they say. And so, because of that, because the power balance is white people get to be awful and evil because they get away with it because they're ingrained in society, and everyone else is trying to be ingrained in society and working for equal rights and trying to not cause fights or war or battle. Well, white people start fights, war, and battle in fucking colonization and all this kind of stuff. Saying words against this group isn't really as impactful as saying words against this group, because this group is still suffering, has suffered, continues to suffer. This group is causing suffering, continues to cause suffering, and has privileges. So that's the reason the C word isn't bad. You can use it all you want. Twitch is weird for not letting you use a C word. You should be able to use that C word at very least. Moving on. Fucking, yeah, let's talk about fucking capitalism. So, why are we still under capitalism right now and not under socialism if socialism is the better fucking, a political, ideology that will change the entire society as we know it, which it would if it was actually enacted. The reason is because nowhere in the fucking earth has socialism actually been enacted. Never. Never once. All, even like claimed socialist countries and places, use capitalist roots in order to enact these changes into their society, and they stink and they stay and they latch on and they can't be pulled out unless we change the roots that we use. See, Soviet communism is fucking dictatorship disguised as communism, which is actually a version of a capitalist getting too much power. They're using capitalism. They're using fucking trade and debt to continue to interact with the world. All of this has to do with capitalism, not with socialism, not with free people or free thinking. It has to do with old thinking and old rules and old laws, which came back at the time when America was fucking made. So it's not really true socialism. And then we have Taiwan, or is it Taiwan? I don't know which one it is, but it's the one with fucking other socialism, which is closer to socialism, or communism, which is closer to communism, but it isn't actually communism because it's still put to a point to where in the society that you interact with it, you can move over there and be there and live there and not realize that you're in a different system, because the whole thing is, like, they still use the majority of capitalist implementations, like money and paper dollars, like physical money, and imprisonment, torture, these kind of things, in order to enact their rules and their laws, that they want you to go by, which is more of an authoritarian capitalist standpoint than a actual communist socialist standpoint. So although a lot of these places claim and want to be socialist and want to be communist, none of them have actually been fully enacted, because each time it's tried to be fully enacted, the actual revolutionaries, like fucking, what's his name? Goddamn, that one guy with the hat and the cigarette, that bastard, tried to do but fucking died doing because he was fucking a small group who was actually trying to do the full thing. So normally that's what happens. It's small groups that have these big dreams that want to change the world, even if the world's fucking innately capitalist, and big groups who want to change the world but only change the world slightly in order to not piss off the rest of the fucking capitalist world. So that's the reason we're still in capitalism and not socialism and not communism, because the entire world runs off of a communist, off of a capitalist scheme, not a communist scheme, not a socialist scheme. And if it was the other way around, we wanted to say that, there has been no true capitalism, and there's always been socialism in that world, at that point, I have the opinion that the world would be much better at this point, and at this point, not a lot of people wouldn't really care that much about it changing, because it would already be working in favor for the people of the world, rather than the fucking companies and corporations and company heads. However, furthermore, oh man, let's see, fuck, I had an idea, but capitalism hasn't even itself been enacted fully as it was supposed to be, as it was told to be, or promised to be from the beginning, to where that all people are able to equally make the opportunity to be able to be a rich fucking filthy billionaire, to own their own company and have a fucking pool with 10 models in it. Like, this ideal isn't feasible or realistic. The majority of Americans will suffer the rest of their lives in a mediocre life, not a fucking glamorous, glorious life. They will all suffer mid-class life. And the majority of the people who get into upper-class life were born into it. There is no point to where you can actually work in capitalism to get to the point to where you're fucking Jeff Bezos or fucking Elon Musk. You are born Elon Musk, or you are born Jeff Bezos, and you have these opportunities which no one else has. You were born Donald Trump, and you have these opportunities which no one else has. So, and you take credit for the majority of what everyone else does as a middle-class worker to make these dreams you have a reality. So capitalism isn't actually made to get the people from the bottom or from the middle any higher. It's made to get the people at the top, so pinpointed at the top that you can't reach it. They're standing on top of the point. You can't get through that funnel because you were born into it. Unless you were born on the other side, you will never reach the top. So, why is it still capitalist then? Why hasn't it changed? Why haven't people rose up? Because in the first place, in order to get to the minimum wage of $10 an hour, we had to kill ourselves, fight until we died in order to change the minimum wage. We had to gather together, know we were going to die, use firearms and explosives against the government when at that point it was feasible and possible to do that, and fight the government on its own, like in a civil war. At the time when it was possible for people to gather enough resources to fight the government. Now, today, the government has fucking jets that drop gases that can kill you. They have tanks that shoot explosives, which can kill you in mass. Both those kill you in mass. They have fucking nuclear weapons, which can destroy the entire world. So, actually gathering together today to change capitalism isn't very feasible. It's possible, but isn't very feasible unless you have thousands upon hundreds upon millions of people in order to agree that not only should it change, but that they would sacrifice themselves in order to get it to change. That's not going to happen. No one's going to light up everyone in order for them to move on a revolution like that. Because in the end, all it is just even if we get them down, it's not get them down, but even if we stop the government from being in full control and we're suddenly in control, we have no education or understanding of what to do. Show after. they have no they have no understanding of what it means to lead a country, so that we'd have to get people who are also involved with politics and new politics and old politics in order to reseat people who can look after things which are detrimental to look after, so that the rest of the known world doesn't swoop in and destroy America for having been in a civil war itself. Now, the hope with anarchism, my ideology, is that people sort of round, what do you call it? It's not even round tables, like round stadium decide what needs to change in society. And the more that people agree with some subject, the more likely that subject is likely to change within the society. However, in order to get that to actually happen, we'd have to be able to communicate and interact with each other on a normal daily basis. And we don't. We instead avoid each other because we're all after our own gain, because it's capitalism, because it's my world, because it's my time, because if I don't try the best I fucking can to get to the top, I'll never even reach the middle. We are pushed and aligned against each other in competition rather than encouraged and aligned together with each other to create teamwork to have things change. So we're all against each other. We don't have a team in the first place. That we don't have that much of a team. We have small little teams that kind of help. Some people might give you some money. Some people might give you some attention. Some people might give you some of their time. But ultimately, it's their life, and you gotta fuck off. And that's just the way we treat each other, rather than, investing all this time and all this money and all this, like, entire lives into changing the world. If we wanted the world to change, thousands upon thousands of lives would have to end. That's just not going to happen. So that's why we're in capitalism and not socialism, and it won't change. It will only be either better capitalism or worse capitalism. It's never going to be anything else besides that. Now, let's see. Last topic is murderers. So, let's say someone, bad person, normally we do bad man, we're gonna do bad woman this time. Bad woman takes an assault rifle and shoots her own infant daughter and her neighbor's infant daughter. Does it in malice, does it in first degree, now is in holding for jail or prison. We don't want to feed this filthy fucking animal of a person. We don't want to keep them alive. So what do? We kill them, right? Just what you do with a murderer. Like cold-blooded, evil murderer. You kill them, you murder them. You murder the murderer. Murdering results in murdering. That's what the action is supposed to the action of legal execution is supposed to achieve. Equal justice, at least. Justice itself. Kind of a moral justice rather than like a practical justice. Because a practical justice would be to put this person to where they can't hurt other people but can still be productive to society and want to interact with society. My suggestion for all people, murderers and other psychos alike, are to rehabilitate them to the best of possible, allow them to live lives that, maybe they're not completely comfortable with, but they can tolerate at least, so that they can give back to the community and want to give back to the community, rather than being in spite with the community, in spite with everyone, in spite with all the things that society, that makes up society. In spite of all of it, not wanting to change, but wanting to get worse. We'll make a murderer a serial killer if we put them in a small box and feed them bad food and treat them poorly for years upon years upon years with rapists in charge, and then murder them. Okay, that's not going to help anything. That's not going to change anything for the better. That is going to change things for the worse. Violence begets violence, and more violence begets more violence. And someone knowing that you're just going to kill them if they do something is more likely to double down on that action. I'm dead anyways. Who cares if I kill 12 people? Because if I kill one of them, I'm dead anyways. Why does it matter? I'm going to kill 90. Right? This isn't the solution. Alright? The solution isn't either to spend millions of dollars on these facilities which hold them in small cells in small places where they're unhappy and everything that they're used to is gone and taken from them to the point to where they're living like animals. And spending bunches and bunches of money on feeding those people and pushing other people out who belong in those places, or not belong in those places, but would do better in those places because they're a bigger threat to society than other people who are already inhabiting those small boxes. You can talk in your country, but you can comfortably talk about such things. Yeah, that's true. It's really awful that the most of the known world isn't allowed to talk about these sort of things. And yes, it's ridiculous that she'll be thrown in jail. Yeah, it is. It is ridiculous. I'm so sorry that you're put into a position where you have to deal with totalitarian demands that say that you can't have an opinion. I'm sorry. Kulu by Saber. I'm very sorry. I wish your position wasn't like that. But, you know, the way that we're doing things over here as well aren't, you know, perfectly, well, they aren't being done in a positive way. They're being done in a way of malice, in the idea of malice. And I can only imagine over there it's even worse. And there's so many bad things happening. I really wish I could help. I'm so sorry. Julius Beiser. If I had the ability to go to Turkey right now and help, I would, obviously. Anyone would in their right mind. If you want to, we can study more for this. Like, if you want to come into my Discord, you can help me study as to what's the problems in Turkey and maybe find some videos that we can show everyone so that everyone can understand some of these problems to bring some attention to him. That's about as much as I can do. Oh, you would have to seek asylum in order to do that. Well, I don't want you to have to seek asylum. So if you're looking to seek asylum, then seek asylum. But USA, UK, yep, pretty much. You'll have to get out of Turkey in order to be a free person, which is awful. And it shouldn't be the state of what you're living in. I'm really sad. Like, I don't know what to say. I feel really bad right now. I want to help you. I don't know how to help you. Is there any way that you means as to which you're seeking asylum right now, or that you want to seek asylum right now? Or is there any help that you need? Either way, sorry everyone. I get caught up with chatting. Now, murderers. So, oh wait, saying bad things. It's a crime here. It's not a crime to do bad things. How strange. That doesn't make too much sense. Saying things is bad, but doing things isn't. Seems backwards. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Hulu's by Cyber. I wish I could help. I'm sorry Turkey's in such a bad state right now, but yeah, everyone, sounds like Turkey's not doing so good. Either way, what was I saying? Oh wait, I have to switch the chat box. Now, You want to contact me? Okay. Here, I'll give you the ability to contact me. Please join my Discord, or I can give you also my Twitter. Here's my Twitter. And now... So then... Okay, so that's 3 ways you can reach out to me. If you want another way to be able to reach out to me, just let me know, and I will make that possible for you. But anyways, please contact me. Let's see, so murderers, I believe, deserve reform, even though they've murdered, because more murder just creates malice as to what actions, as to the cost of actions and the cost of being an American citizen. If you have the threat of murder for whatever reason, that you commit a crime with, then you are stepping in a land in which you are unsafe. Because there's a chance you can do an action which could make you unsafe. Oh, it's okay, Lucifer. I wish I could speak to you more clearly in your language, but English is all that I know. But yes, all people deserve the ability to be able to reform themselves, rather than just to straight die. That's just my opinion. The majority of people. Do I believe that Hitler deserved rehabilitation? Sort of not. There's someone that becomes that influential where everything they do, so long as they're allowed to interact with the public, can still influence it. So if someone's that dangerous, it's kind of hard what to say to them. But if someone's just a normal person who's a psycho, who committed psycho things, who did... Wait, you can... Okay, Hebe. Or Hebe. It isn't a long name. But, okay, so everyone deserves fair treatment. Even if they unfairly treated other people, treating them unfairly doesn't, two wrongs don't make it right. Pretty much. Well, cool, we're almost at 7:30, so, for the last, however long, and I didn't do tweets. I should have done tweets all throughout this stream, because that's how I get my viewers to even come in. What's the last thing that I want to talk about? I want to talk about, how my legs are hurting. I'm actually going to end early because I didn't tweet enough. My feet are hurting so bad, I'm going to be laying down with this computer now in bed. But yeah, if you want to see more of me, please follow my Discord. Or my Twitter. Or my Instagram. Follow me anywhere, and you can see more of me. There will be more streams in the future, I promise you. And I hope that you join me next time. Please join the Discord. Discord's fun. I enjoy talking with everyone. I am now going to be working on publishing this to YouTube in different parts now. It's been a while since I published to YouTube. But there are a lot of things in San Francisco that I want to publish to YouTube which will be out of order. Now, when that's going to happen, at whatever point that I actually have the ability to go all the way up to San Francisco and retrieve stuff in order to release in genealogy what I made, I'm not sure. However, we're going to accept the views that we get on this most recent content because I want to make more content. I want to make it every day. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I enjoyed so very much being your host. I'll see you next time on Dumbnonblonde. Bye, Dumbnonblondes. Bye.